Hello, wastelanders. Greetings. Welcome. Hello. Hi, all of you. How you doing?
Hello.
Yo, yo.
Hey. We're here. We are sat upon the precipice of a new game system for the channel, are we not? Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
exciting.
Yes,
man.
yeah. Thank you all for joining. Yes, we have gathered here today to partake in the activity of Fallout 2D20, the Fallout RPG system by Modifius, which is, I've been interested in it since I first kind of learned about it, and I'm glad that you're here wanting to play it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't wait to get cracking.
beautiful. Well, first things first, we've got some new faces to the channel proper, but we welcome back Chris. Hello, Chris from Rad Rocky,
Hello.
Master Agency. How you doing?
Very well, thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me again.
That is more than all right. We've got a returning veteran. Hello, Tilda.
Hey.
Hiding, lurking down there. We've got the power duo themselves. We have Staff and Tom, all the way from the sunny climates of Proxy Table Gaming. Hello.
Hello.
Yo.
And welcome, Tom, to your first proper
Yes.
game with us.
First of any kind.
Yeah.
Especially with Fallout, actually. So I'm really excited.
Yes. Yes, you are our resident Fallout newbie, so we will gently lead you.
Just like Sonic, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And last but not least, a completely brand new face. Hello, Tim.
Hello, gents. Lovely to make your acquaintance.
Yes.
Played plenty of the Fallout games digitally. Played a fair bit of D&D, but never mashed the two into one beautiful combination. So it'd be fun to try this out.
Yes. Yeah, I am certainly looking forward to it because as a system, it looks very fun. And let's be honest, the Fallout universe is just pretty grand as well. Before we carry on, for some of our new guests, the internet is a big place. So, Mr. Chris, where would we find you on the interwebs?
You'd find me or the agency that I work for at Roldark GMA on Twitter.
Marvelous. And Tom and Staff, where do you frequent on YouTube?
I'm staying quiet. I don't know.
We are Proxy Table Gaming on YouTube. I'm on Twitter, Lucky6sptg, and on Facebook, Proxy Table Gaming PTG.
Beautiful.
What is it?
Beautiful. And Tilda, you can find her on.
Don't find me. I'm good without being found.
Well, I was going to say on many episodes of Call Me Echoes of War in the past, and hopefully you'll see Tim on some videos from us in the future.
Magic.
So let us dive into a broken world. It's a world ravaged by nuclear apocalypse, but the focus of our attention is not on Washington. It's not on Boston. No. The scope of our adventure takes place in a much more quaint, petite location. In the ravaged wastelands of the United Kingdom. Old Blighty, specifically London. Good old London town. And welcome to London, the once gleaming capital of the nuclear-ravaged Old Blighty. You have each followed the sounds of screams and gunfire to the Sidcup Pindar Station, a remnant of the world before the Great War, before the bombs dropped. The tube station's external lights flicker several times but remain lit, and, remarkably, its doors lies open, inviting any manner of scavenger or scoundrel to plumb its depths. It's a cold night, bone cold, and the skies aglow with an eerie green light muted by a feeble drizzle. A gust of frigid wind blows dust across a reasonably clear road outside of the train station's entrance. Each of you is standing in a circle, facing each other in the road, strangers meeting for the first time. Each of you knows that the Pindar promises valuable treasures from the old world, treasures most people in London would be willing to kill for. And so, we find you all stood in a circle, weapons drawn, frantically looking each other in a tense standoff. Starting from top to bottom, as you eye one another warily, we turn our attention to a ghoul with a pipe gun in hand. Tim, tell us about Bailey.
So, Bailey is a lovely young person. Has been spending a bit of time in the wasteland and had some mild misfortune in their youth. In their early teenage years of being blasted with a catastrophic quantity of radiation. Even more unluckily, they have survived and become a rotted zombie-like creature known as a ghoul, but still pretty much holding it together, getting on all right. It's been a tough old life. Been around the block, got into some scuffles. Not many people too happy to see me, but yeah, making it work and just trying to scrape by without killing too many people if necessary.
Sure. So, is there, like, what does your character like to be called? Do they prefer their name Bailey, or do they?
Yeah, Bailey's not too bothered. Bailey just goes by they them.
Okay.
And yeah, Bailey's absolutely fine.
And Bailey, what is one moment from your past when you lost something important to you? And what was it you lost?
Oh, probably all of their skin. That was probably the worst time, I would say. Yeah, I think compared to that, there's not most of the other little trinkets and stuff haven't really been that much of a bother.
Okay. So, going clockwise around the circle. Next up, we have a weary-looking woman. Chris, talk to us about Augusta.
Augusta is a Pindarista. So Augusta was, I suppose that she's pretty unremarkable looking, but she has a brilliant mind for computer science and AI.
Nice.
She was previously known as Student 1179F. And in a previous time, graduated students, she learned, were systematically murdered. And then the most advanced of their students were harvested to be used in genetic experiments. So she led a bloody coup against these murderous so-and-sos, and took the name Augusta Byron for herself.
Very
And
nice.
ever since, she's been fending for herself out here in good old Blighty.
So, I would go on to ask you, what is one moment from your past when you were pushed too far, and how did you react? But I feel like we've just
With murder!
we've already
Murder!
answered that. Yes. Okay. Very, very good. So, yeah, as you look from side to side with a 10mm pistol in hand, we cycle around. Steph, what is the deal with Mona?
Well, it's fairly clear to see from Mona's almost permanent frown that she's quite a serious going individual who takes every situation pretty intensely, to be honest. She is a tough individual who kind of has grown used to the fact that people consider she's had a fairly easygoing time of the wasteland, in that, you know, she had loving parents She was brought up well. She was named after one of the best female military generals that the country has ever seen, what's left of the country. And so she's constantly fighting to be recognised for what she is rather than what she's had. And that goes by her constant frown and her stating fact kind of attitude
Okay.
to her surroundings.
So, what would you say? What does your character look like at this moment, and what is their demeanor in this kind of standoff?
In this standoff, without giving too much away, Mona is very much looking to defuse the situation.
Okay.
Without giving that away as best she can. She's looking around at all the others. She's studying them for mannerisms, and she's trying to work out how best to not cause the injuries that she knows she is very capable of healing.
Okay, very good. So, cycling around a bit more, stood just across the way from Mona. Tom, tell us all about Happy.
Oh, well, Happy's a bit of a jokester, bit of a prankster. Been a resourceful chap. He is. He's a resourceful chap. Bit in the sticks a bit. Don't like bullies. Don't like the people that bully other people. Actually, not a fan, particularly. But yeah, gets about. Tries to have a bit of a dibble and a dabble over this and that. Otherwise, yeah, just your old Happy. Don't worry about it.
Okay. And in this moment, I'm going to throw it back out to everyone else. Do you feel drawn to wanting to point your weapons at Happy?
I don't. Mona doesn't.
No.
Mona's weapon is very much pointed like at knee level.
Okay.
Ready to raise. So
I think mine is probably pretty indiscriminately pointed at whoever is closest.
Sure.
Yeah, there's probably a bit of a glitter in Bailey's eye that shows that they really wouldn't be that bothered if push comes to shove.
Okay, fair enough. Well, speaking of glints, the glint, your glare, Bailey, as you look around, is reflected in a metallic chassis of a three-eyed, three-limbed, floating robot. Tilda, enlighten us on Marvin.
Marvin is very straightforward. It's Mr. Handy unit.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you look closer, you can see that it was put together from different units from before. Like some of the parts clearly did not belong to the original body. And how much do I want to give away about Marvin is the question.
Well, tell you what,
it's floating there, saying like, please don't be alarmed. This can be a peaceful situation, by very obviously pointing a flamethrower at all of you.
Well, yes. I mean, case in point, we might be able to imply instead of. But as Marvin studies the four flesh bags in front of it, who does it think it could have the best chance of taking on?
It thinks it can take on all of them if need be. But it's also thinking the ghoul seems a bit more trigger happy. Maybe it can manipulate a situation that they take out a couple of others, and then it just finishes off whoever is left.
Sure, sounds good. Okay, so as you all just kind of look at one another, and you're almost kind of waiting for the first person to make the first move. In these quiet moments, as you stare at each other, locked in a tense standoff, there's a loud burst of gunfire from somewhere within the station. A moment later, a woman's scream pierces the air with three haunting words. Help me! Somebody! The final person in your standoff circle, a middle-aged man wearing a white lab coat caked in mud, his face entirely covered by a wheezing gas mask, slowly raises his hands above his head.
Ooh.
He's not holding a weapon. Please, friends, the man says as he takes a nervous but brave step towards the center of the circle. Please, someone inside that station is in trouble. And besides, I'm sure there's more than enough valuables inside for all of us. None of us need to die out here. And as the man says as he looks to you all very pointedly in turn, and before putting his hands back up. Augusta, what do you do?
Listen, I mean, all right, let's go.
The man kind of like his head turns to look at you, and it's it's very difficult to read like his demeanor apart from his body language, given that his face is completely covered. But yeah, the head turns to you almost as if he wasn't expecting you to be so kind of accepting. And the man kind of turns to look at the others and, are we all calm? He says as he looks at the remaining of you.
Calm as you like, brother. Calm as you like. And now you mentioned some valuables. What sort of valuables have we got right in that governor over there?
The man kind of gently kind of points a hand back towards the open door of the tube station, like Sidcup tube station. I mean, that place will be a veritable treasure trove of old world paraphernalia that a discerning gentleman like yourself, I'm sure, would be very more than welcome to peruse.
Oh, wonderful. You got any little snippets that we can maybe have on the way in, you know?
The head tilts slightly as he's trying to pass what it is you're saying, and then decides on a yes.
Like a marble? A little marble? Have you got marble?
I'm sure there are marbles in there. And the head kind of wobbles a little bit as it turns to look to the Mr. Handy, specifically the pilot light on the flamer. It's kind of waving at people. Are you good? Good, sir? Ma'am? Handy? And the man carries on to look to Mona and Bailey, and slowly begins putting his hands down. And
hold on there. Barely even got talking yet, have we, Gov? Look, I know you've got a nice coat and that, but who's you to be in charge?
The man kind of puts his hands back up, and I'm not trying to kind of push you around or anything. I just want a peaceful resolution. But please, my apologies. I've forgotten my manners. My name is Dr. Rast. I'm a physician. I'm from Oxford. I'm from out of town. I have my reasons for being here, as I'm sure the rest of you do. But I did not come here to die on this street.
What kind of doctor are you?
I'm a physician of a physician of health. Yeah, I'm not here on business or. He struggles a bit, and my daughter ran away from home. She came here, and I'm just trying to find her. I'm just trying to find my girl.
And she's in that there place over there?
In equal measures, I do and don't hope so.
I know what you're saying, Governor. Now, we could go in there, and I'm sure this lot seemed like a wonderful lot. I don't know, really. I like Shiny over there. They're pretty cool. But I'm getting detracted. I'm getting distracted from my... That's a very nice belt.
Are you saying Mr. Dr. Rast?
Yes, Mr. Rast. Doctor. Sorry, Doc.
Mr. Dr. Rast. And he kind of looks down at his belt and gently kind of...
No, that won't be necessary, Doctor.
Hey.
We're not here to rob him. But I will
just
ask you
saying,
one
a
thing.
nice little snippet before we go in, you know?
She ignores him, and Mona says to the Doctor, "What makes you think there's valuables in there anyway? If you haven't even been in there, then why are you trying to entice us in there with valuables that you don't know whether they're there or not?"
Well,
Good question.
all Pindar stations, they're like a time capsule from the before times.
Yeah, the ones that haven't already been scavenged.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of the Pindar stations. Like, they're so vast and sprawling. You nearly always find something good in there. But please, I'm not here for any kind of material wealth. Time is of the essence. Did you not hear the sounds of the screaming woman? We from the goodness of our heart, it's the humane thing to do. We need to go in and help.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love helping people, but now, Mr. Dr. Rast, as a man of the physician, would you know anything about these rumours I'm hearing that in these Pindars there's some old chemical what can help us, skin disadvantaged folk if we're going a little bit, wrong in the... No, I'm not. But if I was, I've heard there might be something in there that can help us out. Is that... You heard anything about that?
What do you mean, like a little cream?
Yeah, like a little, like a little pill or something.
Come on, Doc, help him out.
There are all sorts of things that you can find in the Pindar station. They were designed to support entire communities in the aftermath of the bombings. So I'm sure we can find creams. The man turns to you, Marvin. I trust I have your support.
Of course, good doctor, and I'm sure you have the rest of the individuals here too. After you.
The doctor kind of nods carefully. So whilst you were individually kind of not talking, sort of like where was everyone looking when they weren't speaking?
At this fella's belt.
Towards the station.
Okay, towards the station. Marvin?
Marvin is eyeing Bailey and Happy very
Okay.
carefully.
Okay. Mona?
Mona would be looking for any kind of identification from his coat or anything to see if she could identify the medical practice or anything like that. If it's genuine or whether he looks like he's just nicked it.
Okay. And lastly, Bailey?
I think my eyes are darting all over the place. I'm looking at wherever I can constantly, although probably not taking much of it in.
Okay. Well, in that moment then, Mona,
All right.
as you kind of look this doctor over, there's no discernible kind of identifiers on his person. For what it's worth, the lab coat looks like it fits.
Sure. Yeah.
But it is thoroughly caked in mud. So, I mean, it looks like, presumably he's been wearing it for a long time, or if in fact he did find it on someone who had a very similar physique to himself, they had worn it for a significantly long time. Augusta, also gone.
Does he have shoelaces?
He does have shoelaces.
All right, noted. Thank you.
Not for long.
Augusta, as you
Yes.
you're looking over at the pinned up, like the underground train station entrance. I would like you to make the first roll of the game, good sir. So, if you could open up your character sheet and then roll me
Yep.
a medicine check.
it's got me 9 for attribute, which I think is intelligence. Is that correct for medicine?
That sounds correct. Yes, you are very, very clever, Augusta.
Well, maybe only in books. What was it? What? How many do I need? 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So this is a difficulty 1.
Difficulty 1. Here we go. 1 success, Dan.
1 success. Okay, so the way that this works is that so the Fallout game is inherently a 2d20 system where rolling lower is better. In this instance, using a combination of your innate intelligence and your skills in medicine, you have successfully rolled 1 success. You've rolled a 7, and you needed to roll a 12 or less. So, Augusta, as you look around, sort of like, you know, your immediate area is mucky, right? It's a nuclear ruined city, but you notice a gruesome trail of blood that leads from the northeast to the entrance of the station.
Okay.
Now so within this, as is the case with the newer Fallout games, there are action points. Action points will allow you, generally speaking, to do extra things. One of these extra things you can do is obtain information. So you have discovered something, and for the summary cost of 1 AP, you can ask the Games Master a question, and I have to answer it honestly, although I don't have to give you the whole truth.
What an interesting little mechanic.
Yes. So, if you were interested in finding out more about this gruesome blood trail, you can spend 1 AP. Now, we notice that the party action points, because it is a communal pool, is currently at 0. You can gain an AP if I also gain an AP, if you are currently running out.
Yeah, I don't need...
Brick straight away.
Alternatively, in this moment, as everyone's kind of had a bit of a time to have a breather, you can kind of steady and rally yourself. So, if you can make me a survival check, please, Augusta.
Absolutely.
And the difficulty in this instance is 0, so you're just looking for successes. So this is an endurance plus survival, 1 success. So you take a breath, you kind of breathe, and you're able to steady yourself. So the difficulty is 0. Whenever you have surplus successes on a roll like this, you generate action points. You've generated 1 success, that is 1 surplus success, so your AP goes up to 1.
Okay.
Would you like to immediately spend this AP to obtain information?
Yes, I think I would, Dan. Yes,
Thank
that
you.
sounds like a jolly good idea, doesn't it?
This is marvellous. So, looking at it, say the bloodstain seems to be kind of travelling from the north east. You basically can ask me a question about this blood trail.
Okay. So it's coming from the station to the northeast.
Well, that could be your question. Like, where is it going? Like, what's the direction of it, for example? Or how fresh is it? Or
if I was to look at this bloodstain,
yes,
would I believe that it's of significant amount to put somebody in dire medical trouble?
So there is a massive amount of blood. Whoever is wounded likely will require some immediate medical attention if they are to survive.
I will look to everybody else in the group and say, I say, listen, everybody, listen, there's an awful lot of blood down there. Now, I'm not a medical doctor by any means, but I believe that whoever is down there is probably quite close to being fucked. So we should probably go and have a look.
I agree with this. We should move with haste.
Let's head on in.
Dr. Rast nods emphatically. As you are you all agreeing to head in?
Can I usher Dr. Rass with
You
us?
could begin ushering, yes. As you begin
Right this way, Doc. Come on.
as you begin ushering, the sound of rapid gunfire explodes from the open door of the station, accompanied by flashing of barrels unloading towards a spot where you are gathered. A guttural male cry goes out from the entranceway. "Scavengers out there trying to follow the girl! Light 'em up, boys!" A moment later, a large, muscle-bound, bald man, dressed in military fatigues, armed to the teeth, comes charging out of the station towards you, opening fire wildly. Several other mercenaries follow behind him, equipped in a similar fashion, also with guns blazing. One of the hooligans squeals with mad glee. "Nobody moves in on Rad Rocky's turf!" As a number of London hooligans come pouring up the stairs of the Pindar Station in your direction.
Now this guy has several belts. Just to note, chaps.
But what
Jump
about
Dream
his?
come true for you.
What about his shoelaces, dear boy?
Well,
Like
Yeah,
belts
they
for your shoes.
they don't look functional if I'm honest. I think they're just one of the, for a presentation.
I see.
So Rad Rocky, he would seem to be the ringleader, wearing a heavily dented and rusted Brody-esque helmet, flanked by three vagabonds, three ne'er-do-wells, armed with kind of crowbars and pipe weaponry. They begin running towards you. Everybody, as you go to enter, and these kind of hooligans come charging out of you. Leading them is the gentleman you assume to be Rad Rocky, who kind of like runs to the top of the station stairs, kind of looks around, and kind of ducks behind a piece of kind of a low, like a concrete slab, a bit of like a broken wall, and as he kind of looks over, he takes a shot at...
Who's your least favourite now?
Who's my least favourite so far? He's going to take a shot at Mona, because
I enter.
you poked your head up above the parapet there, Staff. So
2-1 for the team.
he brings so Rad Rocky brings a gun up, aims in your vague direction, and like fires a shot. You can see the recoil from the gun shakes the wooden construction of this man's revolver violently, but the bullet flies straight past you, and kind of blows out a chunk of wall on the building opposite. Rad Rocky, ow, shit, he says, and next up is Bailey. So, the way that this works in terms of positioning is that there are zones. Kind of movement and positioning is relatively abstract. Currently, as you are all in the entrance of the station, and these hooligans have come up, you're all in close range, but you would need to move to get into reach, which will allow you to make melee attacks. So, Bailey, what do you do?
All right. Things are getting interesting. How's cover looking near where I am?
So outside, realistically, there's like if you wanted to move into cover, there's going to be more than enough stuff for you to kind of hide behind. So, bollards, kind of the concrete road dividers, just bits of broken masonry and detritus.
I guess to keep it nice in London, I'll take cover behind a red phone box, the remnants of one,
Sure.
with my movement, and then I'm just gonna. So there's Rad Rocky, and then he's got like one
He's
goon?
got 3 goons with him.
Okay, and they're all at close range, are they?
Yes, yeah. So they're currently all kind of relatively clumped together because they're all funneling out of this this station. But the hooligans are clumped. Rad Rocky is shuffled off.
Okay, I mean, I can't let an opportunity like this go to waste. So
Yeah, Yep, I realise what I've done the moment I did it.
Right, so Bailey's usual, not particularly together exterior becomes a little more manic as they pull a what, for all the world, looks like a nice little red leather cricket ball with the stitching on it. If you look a little closer, it is definitely not. It is just a grenade painted to look like a cricket ball. I'm just gonna wind up and chuck it at them, see what happens.
Sure, that
Got the
sounds...
seam as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
sounds good.
Bit of side spin.
Done with a bit of like Tipex.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this instance, so weapons all have a number of kind of attributes and statistics. So specifically, the cricket ball grenade has a range of medium. So I suppose in this instance, like the when you moved into cover was.
Would I be able to use that to move a little further away as well to get it to
Sure.
medium, or?
For sure, yeah.
Great.
That's fine. Okay, so you move to a safe distance, and then you yeet this cricket ball grenade in there.
With surprisingly decent bowling form.
Yes. So if you could roll me a cricket ball grenade attack.
Love to.
So the defense of the hooligans is 1.
Okay, so I just roll 2 as normal, unless I want to push it with an AP.
Correct.
Cool. Yeah, I'll just chuck it. Hope for the best.
Okay, you got 1 success. That's all you needed.
Beautiful.
So the 3 hooligans kind of come up. They see Rad Rocky disappear behind some kind of concrete masonry, and then as they kind of look over towards the ghoul that's just kind of skirted behind a red phone box, yeah, you pull this cricket ball out of your back pocket, and as you put beautiful amounts of spin on it, it lands. It kind of boom hits one of the hooligans square in the chest before detonating. So you hit the first one in the torso, and then I'll find out where you hit the others. But if you've hit, so if you can roll me damage by clicking on the damage bit.
Is it just the 1 damage roll
It
for
is.
all the enemies?
Yes, correct.
Lovely.
Oh,
Okay, so 3 damage.
Oof.
And
Tempted to re-roll that.
tempted to reroll. So that is an option. Everyone here has luck as part of their attributes. And everyone has a number of luck points on their character sheets up in the top right corners. You can, the luck points will basically last you for the adventure, the mission, whatever you want to refer to it as. And it will allow you to re-roll certain dice. 1 luck point will let you re-roll a d20 roll, or up to 3 d6s.
Is there any way that we can get those back, or is it just the 5 for the whole thing?
That is a finite amount until you have a chance to rest and recuperate. If
real.
this were a certain other RPG, it would be like when you have a long rest, your luck.
Understood. All right. I'm just I'll let it ride.
Okay, so 3 damage. Okay, so yeah, you throw the ball, it bounces, it hits them, it detonates. They have. So the raiders are wearing armor. Sorry, the hooligans are wearing armor. So it reduces the damage of your blasts down to 2 damage each, and they're kind of knocked away from the explosion as the cricket ball detonates. Very good, Bailey. Next up is Marvin.
So because the goons are clustered together,
Yes.
I think the best thing I can do is flamethrower them.
Okay, so the little thruster underneath your torso kind of sparks out a bit as you propel yourself forward. So looking at your flamer, that's got a range of close, so you're within range.
Yep.
It's an inaccurate weapon, so you can't aim it, but I don't think you need to. But yes, you can, as it's a burst weapon, you can hit kind of people in an area, as we would expect. So please click on the flamer name. That will roll your success.
That's unfortunate.
Okay, so
You know what? I am going to. I would like to give you an action point to gain 1 and reroll that.
So once you've re-rolled, you would need to use a luck point to re-roll dice once they've been rolled. So you can.
Okay, in that case, I'm gonna go to 3
Yeah.
and roll that because that is.
So
Come
you
on.
can re-roll 1d20 per luck point. So if you click on one of them
Yep.
to then re-roll through.
Let's roll you. Exact
no.
same thing. Oh wow.
Exact same. Okay, so Marvin, as you kind of fly over and spray the area with your flamer, the hooligans who are sort of like picking themselves up from this explosion, slightly charred and a bit bewildered, see you coming and they all kind of dive behind cover as you score the area
He's like,
with
please remain
hot
calm. Please remain calm.
Okay, next up are the hooligans. So they scatter, so they're not clumped up anymore. They're all still within close range of you all, apart from you, Bailey, because you're at medium. But they've all kind of ducked behind various bits of cover, and they pop up to start shooting pipe guns. So the first shot will go towards Marvin. That is so I've rolled a 1, which is a critical, so it's 2 successes. So Marvin, what is your defense? It's on your status page.
Yes, it's 1.
1. Okay, so I've got 1 surplus success, so I gain an action point. But that's a hit. So Marvin, you take 2 damage.
Ouchie.
But that is reduced by your armor, and your armor is 2 against physical.
Mm-hmm.
So, as the first hooligan fires a very blunt, poorly made bullet, and it pings off your armor.
Ouchie.
Next up, the second hooligan is going to fire at, let's say, Augusta.
Bang! I say.
That is it. To your torso for.
Oh, dear.
5 damage.
Hello, boy.
Blimey. Okay, so your lab coat and clothing unfortunately does not give you any.
I believe
protection.
that's a rather round number.
Yes. So you take 5 damage, which takes you down to 5 health. But also, in this instance, taking 5 or more damage in a single hit is a critical. So, Chris, on your character sheet, if you can left-click the first green box on the torso, as your torso is critically struck by this round, and you begin bleeding heavily. At the end of each of your following turns, you'll take some damage as you start to bleed out. Scientifically, though, it would seem that this wound is very similar to the one that was suffered by whoever left that blood trail leading into the station. So there's that. And the final hooligan breaks cover and is running towards Davy and brings up a crowbar and gets 2 successes, so that's 1 surplus. So he swings and catches your left arm, and you take 4 damage. How much armor do you have on your left arm?
0.
Okay, so you take 4 damage.
My left. So it's a physical, isn't it?
It's a physical
1.
attack. 1. Okay, so you only take 3
damage.
hit points of damage. That's the hooligans done. Augusta, you're bleeding a little bit. What do you do?
Whereabouts in my torso am I bleeding, Dan? Talk to me.
So it is a just off center in your stomach. So yeah, the bullet's kind of somewhere in there. It hasn't come out the other side.
I say, if I wanted a belly button piercing, I'd go to Camden. And aims squarely with her 10mm pistol at the son of a biscuit that just shot her.
Okay, that sounds good. So As a quick heads up, so the one that shot you is currently hiding in cover behind a bit of masonry. It's not very good cover, but he rolls a D1d6. His difficulty goes up, so his defense goes up by 1 in this instance. So you need 2 successes to shoot him.
I think she's enraged at this gut shot, and she would want to take a shot.
Sure.
Let's give it a go.
So if you're not moving, so on every turn you have a major and a minor action.
Okay.
Minor actions are things like movement, changing what you're holding, and interacting with things around you. But you can also aim. So if you wanted to aim for a specific body part, or just make your roll that much easier.
Yes, I would like to aim for his face.
Okay. So normally for a called shot makes it more difficult, but because you're aiming, it basically counteracts it. But also, on your person, Augusta, you have a handy little thing called an Attaboy, which allows you to ignore the difficulty increase for targeting a hit location. So you activate the targeting system on your little Attaboy, your wrist-mounted Attaboy, there's a distinct as your vision almost seemingly zooms in and time slows, and you can almost calculate the percentage of how likely you are to hit various body parts on your target. So you actually just get +1. So he's in cover, so you ignore the cover. So it's just 1 success you need.
Okay, here we go.
Oh no!
Oh boy.
Oh no! Okay, you've had a 1, which is a critical success. 20s are critical failures or complications. In this instance, do you want to use a luck point, sir?
No.
No.
Good man.
Okay. In which case,
Maybe.
I'm going to say you shoot. So you have to remove, for anyone who's shot a gun, needs to remove a point of ammo. The complication is that your gun then jams.
Oh.
So you won't be able for the rest of the fight, well, unless you take a turn to kind of unclog it and like reset it. You won't be able to shoot that 10 mil anymore.
Awesome. And where is my ammo kept? Because
It's in the weapons tab of your character sheet. So you go from 17 down to 16.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. So Augusta, as you you also, as you bleed out, you suffer another 2 damage.
As I bleed out.
As you bleed out. Hey, it's not me, it's the hooligans. Mob life, you know. Mona!
Also, you say that, but I want to point out that you got 2 critical successes while the team had a critical failure.
Yeah,
I am sensing shenanigans.
This is going to be the shortest actual play ever.
We are going to need some more marbles.
Mona!
Rest in peace.
Yes.
So just for clarification, so there are 2 hooligans crouching behind in cover. Rad Rocky is behind cover. There's 1 hooligan out in the open, swinging a crowbar at Happy.
Yeah. Mona would be ignoring the enemies completely.
Okay.
Relatively. And I believe in this system, Mona and Augusta are in the same zone at the moment.
Correct.
Because Augusta didn't move. So Mona would be moving, which I think is a free action.
So moving is a minor.
Is a minor action, even if it's within the same zone.
Correct,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's fine. I mean, effectively, Mona would like to move to Augusta and apply first aid immediately.
Using a stim pack?
No, just a normal action.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. So, in those instances, healing. So if you're applying first aid, if you can make me an intelligence plus medicine check, your patient does not have... has 1 injury,
Mhm.
so it's difficulty 1.
Yeah.
And I believe you're also a healer. So you
I heal one
grant an
extra.
additional hit point of damage.
Yes, but it has to be successful first. So
Correct.
don't get too excited.
I'm trying not to.
Okay, here we go.
One success. That's it.
There you go.
That's all you need. So, as you run up to Augusta, who's kind of holding her aside, having just kind of fired this pistol one-handed at her assailant. You get the choice as you successfully apply first aid to either grant health points back, or treat the injury. So, kind of bandage this stomach wound up.
Yeah, I mean, if it's okay in the combat sequence, I'd probably be talking to Augusta and probably see how lucid she is to make that call herself.
Mm-hmm.
I.e., something like, "How badly did they get you? Are you hit hard? Do you need me to seal it, or I don't know, just throw it over to her?"
I think the bullet's still in there. Actually, yes, it's quite painful. Yes.
So yeah, I would attempt to remove the bullet. So I believe that is remove the injury, or the
So you can
injury
treat-
as opposed
you
to the
can-
HP.
Treat the injury. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Is that what's making Augusta roll the extra 2 damage every turn?
correct.
Yeah. So I'd be removing that, please.
Okay. In which case, Chris, on your character sheet, where you've got your injury on your torso, if you now right-click it, it will turn into a plaster.
Hooray!
Hey,
Look
and
at
I'm
that.
now patched up. So, the wound. So, Mona very quickly kind of bandages you up, which stems the flow of the bleed, like stops the flow of the bleeding. The injury is treated but not cured. So, at this moment, if anything untoward or too kind of physical happens, you may open the wound back up. But for now, you are no longer suffering the effects of that injury, but you still have an injury.
Augusta would definitely blush slightly and thank Mona. Thank you.
It's
Mona
impressive
would,
that you blush for the blood loss.
Mona would probably completely ignore the thanks and just say, "Stay down, don't be moving anywhere." And very business.
Yes.
So, whilst this is happening in the middle of the street, just off to the side of that, Happy Davy Doyle, you've just been clattered by a crowbar.
Give me a dead arm, didn't he? Blimey.
What do you do on your turn? This hooligan
Yeah, well-
is in melee with you.
I don't take too kindly to hooligans, you know. So I'm going to give him a little 1-2 with my old nut.
That sounds good. Okay, so if you with a solid haymaker, like right-handed haymaker,
Oh, yeah.
roll me your
Yeah.
knuckles.
I'll give him the 1 or 2 or 2. What about you? Just done it. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so he has a defensive 1, so that's fine, and you whomp clonk, like catch this hooligan right in the leg. Okay, I thought you were going for the jaw, but no, you've.
Well, I
you've
did. I
got-
slipped, you know. I slipped. I just lost my footing. I was too overconfident with the old footwork. You see.
In which case, if you could roll me the damage for the one you're grappling with.
Yeah.
Holy,
Give me a dead arm. I'll smash your knee up, bruv.
Okay, he has got armor
Oh, boy.
on his leg, which reduces it by
Shin
1.
pads.
So unfortunately, yeah, it's not a critical strike. It's almost there, but he does take 4 points of damage, unless Mr. Tom, you would
Yes.
like to use a luck point to re-roll that blank. Maybe.
That sounds wonderful. Sounds like something I would really like to do right now.
So if you select the blank dice and then hit re-roll. Ah, okay. No.
Oh, never mind.
So you.
I wasn't feeling too lucky, punk.
So you take the blow to your arm, you stagger, and then in response you punch him in the side of the knee, and you hear a distinct like as you
Ooh.
clatter the side of the kneecap.
Where
and
that came from, Brady.
Right, so that is the end of the first round. So back up to the top. Rad Rocky pokes his head up from the cover, like the concrete bollard he's hiding behind, and he will let rip. He spins the revolver casing into the revolver on his gun and just starts trying to basically shooting wildly into the middle of the street. He's gonna aim for Mona because she's kind of broken cover. He will roll his sharpshooter pistol. He hits you in the left leg, Mona, as you're crouching. He snipes you in the leg. Now, because he's letting rip, he increases his damage by 1. For 5 damage. Mona, how much armor do you have on your left leg?
Armor, 1.
Okay, so you have 1 armor on your leg. However, he has rolled an effect. So he's rolled a Vault Boy face, which activates the effect of his weapon. So as it's a sharpshooter's pipe revolver, it turns out he's actually firing armor-piercing rounds. So it ignores 1 point of your armor, dealing you a full 5, which is a critical hit.
Okay.
Oh boy.
So
These guys mean business.
They really do.
Don't worry. There's a doctor. Oh, it's you, isn't it? You're the doctor. Oh, I see.
So you take the 5 damage. Your leg is critically wounded, which means that you immediately fall prone as your leg gives out under your weight. You can no longer sprint, and moving is a major action for you. In this moment, watching you start to go down, from a little way away, a man in a muddy white lab coat pokes his head up, sees that a lot of you are taking some beatings, and runs over to you, Mona, uses a minor action to move over to you, and immediately, like from a pocket, produces a stim pack. So he will perform a medicine check. You have 1 wound, right? 1 injury?
1 injury, yep.
2 successes. And I will give you lot the spare AP that Rast has generated. So this Dr. Rast runs over, pulls out what looks like a giant syringe, jams it into your leg, presses a button, there's a psss, and you feel this immediate kind of euphoria as you gain. I'm gonna say you. So it's 4 health, or what would you rather? Do you want him to treat your injury or your hit
It's
points?
completely your call, Dan, because while he ran over and in the shock of being just damaged, Mona is too late to stop him from helping her, because she says, "Don't touch me with that," but he's already done it, showing some sort of reluctance that is too late because she's just been hurt. But so it's completely your call how you want to heal Mona.
Okay. He knows that you being out in the open makes you a target, so he treats your leg.
Fair enough.
Again.
Yeah.
Injects your leg and sets the bone. Yes, you can now put weight on your leg again.
Great.
So
Is
next,
it worth mentioning, Dan? Sorry, before you move on, system-wise, that was 2 successes because of your tag skill.
that's
rather than
very,
it being
that's a very
1.
good shout. Yes,
Just for info.
Yes, so some skills will be identified as a tag skill, which is fundamentally means you're that much better at it than normal. So in this instance, Rast, who has medicine as a tag skill, rolled a 3, and therefore got a critical as if he had rolled a 1. So he does that. Bailey, you've kind of ducked out the way slightly so you can throw your grenade, but you can see people are just getting kind of shot up in the street. What do you do?
And indeed, this fellow is going happy with a crowbar.
Yes.
Is he within close range of me, or
I would say
still a medium?
I would say he is now, yeah, because they all kind of came
All
towards
right.
you, or he came towards you.
So I'm a little bit further away. All this is going on over there. I'm going to carefully level my pipe gun.
Yeah.
Oh, silly, turning your back on old Bailey, and take a pop at this fellow.
Okay. Yeah, roll to
The aim minor action.
Okie dokie. If you're aiming, re-roll a d20 on your first attack roll. Big pardon, it doesn't reduce it.
All right.
Free re-roll.
Boom.
Doesn't need it. Doesn't
Beautiful.
need it. So, with 2 successes with your pipe gun, you earn the party an additional AP, but you bam hit the hooligan fighting Happy square in the chest. Roll for damage.
Lovely.
Oh, okay. And Happy, you've just kind of punched this hooligan in the leg. He rocks, and as he does, kind of staggers to the side. And then you watch as this projectile hits him square in the chest. You hear the sounds of bones cracking as this raider, as this hooligan is lifted off his feet and hurled over some nearby rubble. Absolutely shagged.
Here, skip
well
up.
Just give you a little salute and then duck back.
So as you kind of duck behind your red box, Marvin, there are two hooligans and Rad Rocky. They're just kind of scattered around a little bit. The 2 hooligans are closer to you, but they're all within close range.
Excellent. So you all hear like doo, doo, doo. So and the flamethrower goes away, and then doo, 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 a buzzsaw comes out. As Marvin flows closer.
Yaha. Okay. So the one in between Rocky and the other hooligan.
Yes,
Yep.
please.
Who's currently ducked behind he's taking shelter behind a lamppost.
Okay, let's see if we can roll better than 10 and 11. Yes, we can.
Yes, you can. That is a success.
Very nice.
To the right leg, and I believe your buzzsaw has the piercing 1 effect. So if you roll any fault boys, you'll ignore the raider's armor. Oh, there we go.
Not a lot of damage, but it will do.
That's fun. So you float up to the hooligan who's just he's got his leg out, where he's trying to do his best to hide behind this lamppost, and you just into the back of the calf. It carves right through the leather armor that he's wearing, and you hear him. Ah!
Yeah. Please don't move. This shall not hurt too much.
Okay, and he takes 2 damage. So that was a move. So the hooligans. So the one that you've just sawed with your buzzsaw, staggers away a little bit, stands up, and then looks at his own reflection in your chassis, Marvin, and then swings a crowbar at you. So that's 1.
Hit.
That is a hit on your first arm.
Yeah.
For a total of 2 damage, which
Well, guess what?
boom, just bounces off your armor.
And Marvin goes, as humans would say, come at me, bro.
The hooligan looks at the crowbar, looks at you, and oh no, and realizes he's just made a terrible mistake. Seeing this doctor run out and jam a stim pack into this woman's leg, the other hooligan goes to shoot at him, but strafes the area around Rast and doesn't manage to hit. Augusta.
What have we got left, Dan?
So there's one hooligan currently scrapping with Marvin. There's another hooligan in cover taking pot shots at Mona and Rast. Happy is kind of out in the middle, or Augusta and Mona are together, and Bailey's kind of off to the side, just sniping people off with a pipe gun.
I would ignore Mona
Yeah.
and run over there and pistol whip, I think, this chap who's just had a bit of his insides taken out by Marvin.
By Marvin. Okay, cool. So as you're gun jammed. You kind of.
Yeah, I tell you what, I won't pistol whip him. As I run up, I'll go, It's knife time in London.
Oh boy.
Okay, God.
Topical,
Okay.
nice.
Okay, so you flick open your switchblade,
Shiny.
and yeah, if you roll to hit. Okay, so no successes. Do you want to use a luck point to reroll?
I do.
You do. Okay, so knock yourself down to 4 luck points and choose one of those to reroll.
Oh,
Oh, okay. So
Never mind.
yeah, you bring out your switchblade and you go to thrust at the hooligan, but you kind of have to hold yourself back a bit because Marvin is just this whirling dervish of buzzsaws and flamethrowers and pincer arms and just kind of everything spinning in directions you can't quite comprehend. But at least you're in combat with the hooligan, keeping him busy. Mona, you see your reflection in the dirty kind of glass panes of the gas mask of Rast, but your leg feels better, but you don't seem overly enthused about it. What do you do?
Mona might have had a harsh word for Augusta as she made a move away from her, except for the fact that Rast did what he did, and obviously she suffered her own little bit of trauma to her foot anyway, so she's probably completely forgotten about Augusta anyway.
Okay.
She says, Rast, you come near me with that needle again and I'll put it in your face.
Oh.
And then she sort of shoulder barges him aside.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's relatively free action.
Yeah.
And then starts treating her own wounds.
Okay.
Still prone, I imagine, if I can stay relatively prone.
Yeah. I mean,
And that's all I want to do in Mona's turn. So
you first aid on yourself.
yeah, could I use a party action point to buy a d20 from you, please? Not
you
well.
may.
I think,
Well, I believe you don't even have to ask. Yeah, just
no,
so you
yeah.
use one of the party action points to give yourself an additional d20.
Thank you. That way, if I use one first, then everyone else will have fair game as well. Here we go. Oh, okay. Well, it's
It was
one
worth it.
critical success, so it was the
That
third
was-
one that did it.
That was your third one. Okay, so
Root
you
work.
gain the party. You haven't got any injuries anymore, have you? So you
No,
actually
so I gained the AP back. That was my intention. I was hoping to get 3.
you grant the party 2 action points as your difficulty is 0. Okay, and yeah, you're able to heal
is it?
yourself up for
Oh
health.
yes, difficulty 0. Grand. Yeah, so I think because of my medicine being 3 and my extra ability, I get 4 HP back for that.
Correct. So yeah, you gain 4 hit points.
Cool. Happy with that.
So you're kind of on the floor, crouching next to Rast. Happy, you're stood there with your knuckles, and the gentleman you were just fighting, is no longer part of this world. What do you do?
How far is the ghoul with a bat?
So Bailey
Quite
is kind of close range.
Yeah.
Everyone's in close range to you,
Yeah.
but no one's
Could I,
in,
seeing that this ghoul is just smashed up from range, could I go over to him and, that was pretty nifty what you did there. Reckon we could go for the big dog. Make this. Then the other ones will run away. You know.
Sounds like a laugh.
What? Let's do it. I got my own one, ain't I? Let's go.
Hey.
So you running over to join Bailey and then taking pot shots at Rad Rocky?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Sir.
So Rad Rocky is also behind a little bit of cover. So his defense goes up by 2. So he's quite deep into cover.
No trouble there, son. So I need 2 successes. That's correct.
You
Yeah.
need 3 successes.
So I would need to buy an AP in order to even get close. Is what you're telling me right now.
So yes, the party action points are currently at 3.
They should be at 3 now. Yeah.
So
Luckily, I got one
you can-
back, so this won't be a problem. Yeah, I'll take one. Let's go.
You can buy 1 for 1, or you can buy 2 for 3.
I ain't
and-
greedy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Only for belts and shoelaces. Otherwise, AP, that can stick with 1. Let's go.
He's
Ka-chow.
Okie dokie. But so with that extra, you
Working.
don't get any successes. However,
Or
you do have a daring nature about you, Happy. So
I
when you
would
ever
say so, yeah.
When you attempt a skill test and buy one or more d20s with action points, you may re-roll one d20 of that test.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, actually. Not that it matters, but I'll give it a go. Ciao. Nah, there's something wrong with this. There's something wrong with this. I'm holding it this way. That's right. Right.
Bailey, you watch as this proper Londoner runs up to you, and then instead of shooting the gun, proceeds to just talk about shooting the gun whilst waving it in the direction of the target.
I don't think I should have put these marbles in.
Wonderful.
Okay, so Rast is just going to be barged out of the way, looks to you, Mona, and kind of nods. He then ducks and weaves through the chaos to join Augusta, and from his coat produces another cylindrical object and jams that into you. He's going to use a luck point to re-roll one of those and gets a crit. There we go. So Augusta, you suddenly get jabbed with a stim pack, and you gain 4 hit points, and the party gains an AP.
Now listen, I'm not into that punk rock needle nonsense, okay? I've been down those holes before, and this isn't the time or the place. This is no festival.
Rast looks at you and, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Good. And the hooligan's kind of panicking, surrounded by 3 of you. Rad Rocky returns fire in Happy and Bailey's direction, aiming at the ghoul. Bang! But the bullet whizzes past your head. Bailey, what do you do?
First, I just quickly check and make sure that my belt is still on.
It is.
Beautiful.
It's frayed, but it is.
All right.
So you've got a belt.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
No, you don't get in this bloke shit. All right. Let's sort him out. What range would you say is Rocky from where we are?
He's close.
Close. All right, sweet. So I want to take my minus aim again, and I would like to shoot at the arm that he's using his revolver with.
Okay. So you're aiming,
if I may,
and shooting his revolver arm. Sounds good. So if you're aiming, you negate the difficulty increase. Again, he's behind cover, so the difficulty goes up by 1.
Okay. And if I add bullets, is that the damage or the difficulty that
damage?
That
Yes, correct.
Damage.
You
Okay.
can, however, use one of the party AP to get an extra D20.
All right. Yeah, I'll use 1 AP then towards it.
Okay, so that goes down by 1 to 2.
So that is difficulty 2. Let's just wing it. Let's just have a go.
Oh, a crit! Okay, so that is 2 successes. You needed 2, so that as he was behind cover, and that's a hit. So you were aiming for his
Beautiful.
his left arm. Yeah,
His pistol arm.
It'd be his right.
Whatever it might be.
Yeah, right hand. It was his right arm that you hit. So roll for damage, and you can your gun has a fire rate of 2, so you can spend an additional.
I will. Yeah, I'll pump an extra bullet into that.
Okay.
I think.
So it's an extra D6. Holy moly!
Oh.
6 damage, and
Good gravy.
he's got 1 armor on his arms. So Bailey, you kind of close one eye. You aim, and as you fire, the bullet goes in slow motion as the camera follows it, and it strikes Rad Rocky in the arm, knocking his arm back. The bone shatters. The gun goes flying from his hand. He takes 5 damage, and you hear a squeal, like a upset pig.
How's that?
Just as his arm goes kind of kind of whips back and just hangs loosely, and he
Just nudge Happy and be like, That's what you want to do, mate. Try that one.
Well, good bowling, Shane.
Okay. Yeah, he's very upset with you. Marvin. So
I
you
think it's
are.
muscle time.
Yes, you are currently engaged with a hooligan. There's a bit of a gangbang going on.
Phrasing, but yes. Oh, come on.
Okay, so you go for the buzzsaw. Do you want to buy a additional D20
No, I'm good.
with an action point? You've got some spare action.
No,
points.
I'm gonna keep it for people who roll higher damage, I think.
Okay, fair enough. So the hooligan, who's in amongst you, takes, panics, swings at the newcomer, and takes a swing at Rast, but Rast kind of ducks out the way of the crowbar. The other hooligan sees that Rocky's just had some of his fingers blown off, and makes a valiant charge across the street to engage Bailey and Happy. He runs straight past you, Happy, and goes to swing a crowbar at Bailey's head. Well, at Bailey's right arm.
Fair enough.
For 3 successes, so I get an extra 2. I'm going to...
Can I say that he actually did it to me, but I ducked? Bailey wasn't ready for it.
Bailey wasn't looking. So I'm going to use some of my action points because I'm starting to total them up, unfortunately.
Dan, you're being quite mean, I think.
I am being quite mean, aren't I? It's a mean world. This Fallout world. 5 dice.
Dan, that's so many dice.
It is.
Okay, so that's your right arm.
All right.
For 5 damage. You have got armor, so it drops it to 4.
Have I?
You've got armor on your right arm. Yep. So it drops it to 4. So it's not a crit. You do take 4 damage as this guy takes a run and a leap, kind of soars through the air, and boom, like you feel your arm really.
Oh, beautiful! Nice
Really
big flake of my arm comes off.
big old lump of skin. Okay, Augusta.
Yes. So I'm still with this one chap. I'm going to slice him up again.
Okay. I reckon at this point in time, given that there's 3 of you all kind of crowded around him, if you roll, Rast is going to assist you.
Oh.
He's going to spend a luck point to kind of scooch, get an extra, in inverted commas, get an extra turn, and then he's going to roll a single dice to help you out.
Well, I need the help today, apparently, Dan. So any help that you've got would be wonderful. Yeah.
You're just going to be completely disarmed. All of your weapons are going to break and fall apart in your hands.
So you know what? This is like Jason Statham's Big Vacation all over again. How badly we are rolling.
Oh no! Right, so assist. So it was a melee attack, wasn't it? Rast goes to help, but you just kind of you do. No one wants to commit, and you just no, you first. No, after you.
Could I use a luck point to re-roll my complication?
You may.
Oh, let's re-roll that and get it the hell out. Oh, hey, there we go.
Well, hey!
There we go. Okay.
From
one side to the
20
other.
to 1.
Amazing.
So you only needed 1, so you gain an AP. That is a hit. Roll for damage, sir.
Oh.
2 damage. So that was an attack to the torso. So yeah, distracted, you drive this switchblade up into the back of the raider. The raider's got armor on his back, so he takes a point of damage. Drops down to 3. Mona.
I couldn't find what action it is to stun from being prone. I guess it's a minor action.
Minor, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll kind of do that. And I would like to shout over to the hoodlum who has run over towards Happy,
Yes.
and I would like to try to get his attention in some way,
Okay.
and sort of like show him my laser gun, and make some sort of comment towards if he doesn't drop his weapon, I am going to be firing it at his nether regions.
Okay.
And I would like that to effectively be an assist towards Happy to distract him. So Happy would get a D6, a D20 towards his next move. I need to make a skill check based on what I'm doing. So I was kind of thinking energy weapon, but you can discuss with the DM.
Energy weapon or... Well, I was going to say speech, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah, either.
You're intimidating, yeah. So yeah, roll either or.
Cool. I'll go with speech.
So as you shout, try to shout down this hooligan.
Oh. So I fail, so I don't give my extra D20 to Happy. I think maybe Mona drops the energy weapon on the floor. So it neither distracts the hoodlum nor provides any kind of action. And Mona effectively has to... It's basically just not noticed.
It'll be a minor action to be... Yeah. So you've pulled the laser gun and stop, and the gun's just falling out your hand.
It's in a puddle or something, yeah.
Okay. So it'll be a minor action to pick that back up. Perfect. Happy...
Well, unbeknownst to me, with dropping of stuff over there, I would like to use a luck point for a finer detail, if you will.
Yeah.
My kind sir. I would like to... I don't know whether you've noticed, but his shoes are untied. And I would like to grab one of the shoelaces and try and trip him up via it.
Okay.
I have no idea whether this is possible, by the way.
I mean, it sounds possible. Let's go with a... I'm gonna say... it's quite agility-ish, isn't it? But it is... I'm gonna say... Okay, I'm gonna say... Let's go unarmed. But when you click on unarmed, if you change the attribute to 5, because you'll be using agility instead of strength. So your target number will be 7. Do you want to buy any additional D20s? With
Absolutely. I would have preferred one for free, but things are going on over there. So I would like to buy one with the party AP.
Yeah.
And obviously I've used a luck point specifically for the shoelace. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Chol on the floor.
So
buddy.
2 successes.
Stay down.
That gains you back an AP, and yeah, this guy goes crashing to the ground. You know what?
Get him!
I'm
Get
gonna
him!
say, as he clatters, let's do 1 dice. Okay, he takes no damage.
Can I also pluck his shoelace from the shoe?
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Somehow the shoelaces come flying out.
Wonderful.
Rast, seeing that everyone's kind of patched up, takes assists. He's just going to assist. He's going to...
That doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work. He's going to basically make an unarmed attack to try and grab this hooligan in preparation for Marvin's, presumably, buzzsaw.
Ooh.
Marvin, you're going to get an extra D20 on your next turn as he kind of grabs him. Rad Rocky, seeing everyone's kind of being ganged up on, Rad Rocky spies a young lady on her own across the way.
Trying to find something in a battle, right?
Trying to find, yeah, he's just throwing a laser pistol across the street.
Don't mind me.
But as you, in your attempts to kind of reach out and grab the gun, the bullet misses you from where you were standing.
He has got an arm off. Is that causing any
That is a good point.
challenges?
He can't even do that, can he? He's not got his gun on him. He's going to hide. He's just going to put his head down with his one good hand, squeeze the helmet onto his head slightly, and he's going to hide.
That's not very Rad Rocky.
It's not very rad. Well, maybe it is very Rad Rocky. It's a plot twist.
Rad Rocky.
Bailey, Bailey, what do?
All right. Well, seeing as this bloke's just fallen on his ass in front of me,
Mhm.
I'll take my miner to stow my rickety pipe gun and take out an even more rickety cricket bat that is mostly just like blood and masking tape at this point.
Yeah.
Turn it sideways in my hand and bring the side of it down on this fella
Sure.
vigorously.
I'm gonna try and knock his head out to the cow corner. Lovely.
Yes, please. Do I get any advantage from him being not prone here?
You do. So the difficulty reduces by 1, which reduces it to 0. So
Magic.
you have the option of either automatically hitting and going straight to damage, or you can roll as normal and then potentially farm some action points, but also potentially suffer some complications along the way.
Oh, let's roll them bones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, just swing this directly down.
It's somewhat
On this
uncouth
little
to
fella.
play golf with a cricket bat, but you know, we do what we must.
Oh,
So that doesn't
Never mind,
matter.
eh?
You still hit. So roll for damage, and this is to the head.
to the head.
Nice.
3
Nice
damage
solid thunk.
to the head, and boom! And like you hear this guy's neck snaps to one side as you put a big old dent in the side of his noggin.
What, goalie?
Marvin, the hooligan in front of you is being grappled by Ras. What do you do?
I am gonna boss him. And
So-
you said because he's grappled, I get an extra
You get an
D20.
extra D20. If you want to buy another, you can grab a party action point
You
from
know
the party
what?
funds.
I am going to do that.
4 D20!
Let's see how
Right down
it
the middle.
goes. Oh,
Hey, 4
Hey,
successes!
nice.
So that is 3 surplus. So you shoot the party funds right up to 5.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
nice.
You buzzsaw him in the right leg. Roll for damage, and you
Can
can.
I buy an extra damage dice? to go
So,
with it?
for 1 action point, you can buy 3 damage dice.
I would like to do
Ooh.
that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So that makes it
Uh,
That is
that's
wonderful.
9 damage, ignoring the piercing
This is
one.
brutal.
Marvin has
Oh
had
my
enough
God.
of this shit. So as Ras grabs this hooligan's arms, you you describe to me how this happens, Marvin.
I think as the hooligan is being held in place, Marvin is gonna go like, "Thank you, doctor," and then cuts the guy in half. So that the doctor is left holding the 2 parts, sort of loosely.
Proper Mortal Kombat style.
Chance to put it
Okay.
together a little bit.
Successful operation.
This is not quite right.
Not quite.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Marvelous. You've still got a minor action if you want to move around.
I
or-
would like to move closer to not so Rad Rocky.
Okay. So as you buzz toward, you kind of float over the barricade that he's hiding behind.
Hello,
Um,
I am here to assist.
Augusta.
Augusta would look at this 2 halves of a corpse in front of her and say, "You there with the cricket bat? I do believe this is called a limb before wicket." And then roll over to now very enamoured with Marvin and attempt to stab in at Rad Rocky.
Sure. Okay, roll to hit. You ignore the cover because you're in melee.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Could I get, because I've been so unsuccessful, I would like to use a party AP to put it up to 3
Sure.
D20s, please.
I'll knock that
And-
down for you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm
In-
so sorry.
In any other game that
boy.
we would normally play together, this would be fantastic.
It's all
You know
that.
what the problem is? That you're trying to use a switchblade in Sidcup when you are too close to Lewisham.
You don't play. You don't bring a switchblade to a Lewisham fight. That's,
Yeah.
You bring a buzzsaw, evidently.
Yeah.
Right, Mona.
Mona would like to use a minor action to pick up her laser gun, and hope that no one has noticed.
No, you definitely got away with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
right. Yeah, that's
For
fine. To get her gun back effectively. She would like to shout over towards Rad Rocky, and basically shout to him and say, "Whoever you are, give up the fight, and we will let you live, but only if you stop fighting us now."
Give me a speech check, and I'm gonna say.
Tell that to Shiny.
I'm gonna say it's difficulty 2 because you've been fighting for a little while, and he's being accosted by a Mr. Handy that's splattered with blood.
That's fine. I'm gonna just go for two successes.
Do you want to go for an additional d20?
No, I don't, because
Oh.
effectively Mona doesn't actually care whether he submits or not. She's just giving him the chance.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I reckon.
Sorry, Augusta.
In this moment, so Rad Rocky sees Marvin and Augusta, like they're coming for him. He can see you standing up, and like you very pick up this very discreetly kind of pick up this laser pistol from the ground, and you never dropped it in the first place. And as you shout across, his resolve shatters, and oh god, and he turns to flee, but he hasn't fled yet.
Does he turn towards the station or not?
No,
Or
it looks
elsewhere?
like he's running away. He's
Okay.
planning on running away from the station.
That's fine. Yeah. Cheers.
Happy, you're currently embroiled in a fight with alongside Bailey with a hooligan. What do you do?
I'm just. Yeah, I love a bit of a scrap me. Let's go. This guy's put.
Float like a butterfly?
down. Oh yeah. Sting like a knuckle. Right. Let's go.
Roll to hit. As this
Just a regular.
hooligan
Nah,
tries to parry you
missed.
with a.
Ha.
So you go to swing, and he kind of blocks your arm with his crossbow, flicks you away. Do you want to use a luck point to reroll?
No, I'm happy. This Bailey's got him. Don't worry about it.
Okie dokie. Rast kind of looks around. Rad Rocky. So Rad Rocky's just gonna do a runner. In a kind of one good arm flailing above his head. The two of you, Augusta and Marvin, who've kind of got him boxed in. You can either choose to let him go, or you can get 3 attacks in on him.
I would like to attack him, please.
yeah, same.
Okay.
It's not going to be any point in me, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Marvin does. Yeah, for sure.
Sure. Okay, so we'll quickly jump ahead to Marvin real quick. Marvin, as he's running, I'm going to reduce the difficulty by 1 to make it 0.
Okay.
So you can choose to roll and potentially farm AP in complications, or you can just auto hit.
I think I'm gonna auto hit.
Okay. And do you want to spend any action points on additional damage?
Is the team okay with that?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
roll
knock that out.
let's roll 7 dice again, I think. That seems fair.
I will happily watch you saw people in half all day.
Absolutely.
Not as close last time. 5.
Well,
Right. Hang on. I'm just gonna real quickly find out what location you hit. So left leg. Okay, cool. So as he goes to run, your buzzsaw arm kind of aims down, hits his leg. You triggered your effect, so you pierce through the armor, doing a critical hit to the leg. So he takes 5 damage.
It's just got an 18 rating.
He then he takes 3 steps before he and he crashes to the floor as half of his leg starts flapping.
Skill Bill.
Goodness.
At which point
gracious.
Marvin is going to turn more towards Augusta and would you like to do the honors?
Augusta.
I can certainly try. I've not got much success at this, but let's give it a go. I'll
So-
automatically.
Okay, aim for the neck.
Defense 0. If you want to aim, you can, because there's literally no reason not to. And yeah, so you can auto hit or you can try and farm AP.
I will auto hit. I think.
Oh, don't give him a chance to miss.
Yeah. let's
Sure.
not do that. How many?
would you-
How many?
Would you like to buy 3 extra damage dice for 1 AP?
I would. Yes.
Okay, I'll take you down to 1. So if you click on your switchblade, but then punch in 5 instead of 2.
Yep.
4 damage. God. And it triggers your
Oh.
effect, so piercing.
Piercing.
So he collapses. So Rad Rocky collapses on the floor, "Ah!" like his leg flapping a second joint along the way.
Oh.
And Augusta, describe to me how this happens.
Augusta would have the knife out like yes.
Okay. Where were you aiming? Sorry, the head.
Onto the head. I think you said that's where it hit. Is it not?
Sure. So, with surgical precision, you manage to sever the cortic nerve, if it's called, along the back of the neck, and Rad Rocky, sort of like screaming, "Ah!" Like goes very quiet and then slumps to the ground as you kind of pull your switchblade out. As Rad Rocky goes quiet, the one last hooligan, like hearing the death rattle of his boss, takes one look at you, Bailey and Happy, and then just, "Oh, sorry, mate." And he drops his crowbar with a clang to the ground and proceeds to run. You can choose whether you finish him off before he goes or let him flee.
I will absolutely swing at that head.
Okay, in which case, no need to roll it out. As the hooligan turns to flee, Bailey, you put one strong foot back, and with a bonk, you see this hooligan's head snap to the right, high pace. You hear a crack, and he just, like, the legs keep running for a few steps while the rest of the body ragdolls, and he just kind of collapses over some rubble, and kind of lands in a slump on the other side.
I think that one's over the boundary.
So,
Fella, very good, mate.
as you all kind of catch your breath after a surprisingly tough first encounter, let's grab a 10-minute break, shall we?
Let's.
Sounds
Yes,
good.
please.
In the guide that said that took 5 minutes, right?
30 seconds tops. Right, I'll see you all in a bit.
See you in a minute, guys.
See you in a
Okay,
bit.
so-
About that. Hello there. Yes, you. You're looking a little blue. Feeling lonely? Do you want some friends who will entertain you with regular frequency? Well, we've got just the solution. By hitting the subscribe button, you'll be first in line to see all the shiny new content from the explorers of elsewhere. Don't forget to hit like, nor that bell icon. It's that easy. Go ahead. What's the worst that could happen? Welcome back, Wastelanders. That was ropey.
Under control. Completely under control.
It
What you're talking about?
took a little while, but you found your feet, and before you knew it, you were cutting people in half. That's just like any Wastelander.
Hey, to be fair, there were puddles and everything involved, so
Like, it's drizzly. It's
Yeah.
it's a bit cold. Makes you think. Yeah, no, we get it. So, in the immediate aftermath of this battle with the raiders, Dr. Rast looks to you and sort of like gestures towards the entrance to Sidcup, like train station, like tube station, and he kind of looks to you all and, "Shall we?" he says, like breathing heavily. You can see some condensation on the inside of his gas mask lenses.
hey, I thought you were a cream doctor. You started injecting people.
He nods and I found that a good supply of stim packs is a very important thing to have in London. I've
So
discovered.
You do have some valuables in.
The expressionless gas mask regards you before he turns and kind of heads in. He does stop by you, Mona, and I apologise for earlier. It was uncouth of me not to ask in advance, but I felt that it was necessary to ensure that you were fighting fit.
She looks at him and she says, "It's fine, Doctor. I'm not ungrateful. I just like to know what I'm being needled with."
He
Move on.
He nods, and just a standard nuclear health service endorsed stim pack. Only the finest from the NHS.
That's fine.
God bless
She
him.
leaves it at that and walks off, and probably walks towards the bloodstain and crouches down next to it.
Okay. What's everyone else doing? And also, Mona, if you want to, you can buy some information for an AP. We can ask a question for AP.
Oh, okay, I was thinking of doing a science check instead.
Oh, that, yeah.
Is
Let's
that
do medicine check.
one success?
One success. Okay. What is it you'd like to know?
Just similarly to before, I want to know whether this blood is likely to be so much that the time that we've spent dealing with these hoodlums means that our person who lost the blood is likely dead, or whether they might have survived in the meantime.
Sure. So, the blood is fresh. It's wet enough that you can see its sheen as it lays, despite the drizzle that's kind of laying atop it. And well, a lot depends on where this wound is on the person in question. But it is potentially, unless it, well, obviously if it was like a neck wound, then the individual might not be all right. But if it was a stomach wound, which takes longer to shuffle you off, then there might still be time.
Okay, it looks relatively clean. Like there's nothing mixed in with the blood. It's just okay. Fine.
It looks like standard spilled blood. So is everyone happy to follow Dr. Rast into the station?
Yep.
Okay.
Do I have a sec to just see if I can find that fancy gun? What Rad Rocky was pinging at us with.
This is the most important part of Fallout, isn't it? The
Loot.
Scavenging.
Ending up with 100 and 100 different pistols in your inventory.
So between you, so as you kind of take a chance to kind of stop and breathe, you find a grand total of 15 bottle caps among the bodies, and also 10 plus.
Bottle caps are currency.
Bottle caps are currency. Yes. Easily pocketable, but very hard to make. You find 13.38 bullets. So that's the ammo usually used for things like pipe weaponry. Well, like guns. So I think Bailey and Happy can benefit from 0.38.
Okay.
And then if you want to divvy those up between you. Specifically, Bailey, if you give me a let's say a survival check to see if you can find the pistol that what's his face had, Rad Rocky.
Given that this is quite selfish, how did the team feel about me chucking an AP at it?
No, go for
Fine.
it.
Whatever you want to do.
It's gonna definitely improve the team later on, so it's fine.
Cool. Very kind of you. Alright, so chuck an extra AP at this boy. It's going to be 3 dice total then.
Okay, so success one is all I'd be asking for, because you kind of watch the gun arc out of Rad Rocky's stumpy hand, fingerless hand, once you were done with it. So, sure enough, you chance upon It's got a bullet score mark across it, but you find his weapon, which I will chuck into your character sheet in a bit.
Thank you very much.
Cool. So you notice that it's similar. It's a revolver. It looks like a standard revolver, but it's still kind of made of wood and rusted springs and whatnot. There is a crude, very blunt knife attached to the barrel of it in an almost bayonet
Nice.
style. But to look at it, this knife would struggle to cut butter, let alone anyone else. So you suspect that it's more for aesthetics.
Let's give it a try, though.
Yes, buttering or the stabbing. So as you find this gun and sort of like look around and sneak it into your coat, as you scurry across to join the others, you cross the rickety walkway leading through the entrance of the tube station. The old metal creaks beneath you, underscoring the howling of the radioactive windstorm building outside. An elevator stands at the end of the path to the Pindar. Above its dented doorway hangs a wide, white sign from the old world. A notice from the London Underground that reads, "Mind the Gap." As you kind of enter in, it's even kind of murkier and it's murky and dusty inside this station as you enter in. Like the sounds of your footsteps echoing out and reverberating around you. The trail of blood that you notice outside is distinctly more noticeable once you're in. You notice it's smeared across the handrails of the walkways, and bloody handprints stain the button on the elevator at the end of the corridor. If anyone's interested and would like to make me a medicine check, please do so now.
I can do that, unless we have anybody else who's particularly medical.
Yeah. Mona was just thinking, was probably just eyeing up the ghoul to see whether the injuries are something that she might be qualified for. But it probably gets distracted by this instead. Unless Augusta particularly wants to go ahead and do it.
You go for it, buddy. I think that's much more likely for yours.
We'll tell you what. If it's Mona that's now looking at the blood stains, given that you are inspecting it outside, looking at the blood, which is kind of less disturbed by the elements, it is abundantly clear that whoever is injured does not have long to live if they do not receive immediate medical care.
Sure. Do you still need a roll for this new one, or not?
No, that's fine. Based off what you were rolling outside, this just kind of reinforces the fact.
Unless you want me to roll to add to our action points.
Oh, if you care to roll, yeah, give me a medicine.
Didn't matter.
You do not care to roll.
No.
You do not care for action points. So the blood trail kind of leads across the floor. It's clear that someone was kind of using the handrail on the side to kind of pull themselves along, and they was just kind of slapping at the elevator button a number of times, given the handprints. Apart from the ticket office, which appears to have had the ceiling kind of collapsed in on it. The only thing besides yourselves and your thoughts is the elevator door.
Mona's going to turn immediately to Rast and say, "Do you know who's bleeding? Do you know who this belongs to?"
He looks to you and, like, the shoulders, the body language shows someone kind of putting on you can't see it, but you would assume he's putting on a brave face. There's a stoicism in his body language. I can't be sure, but I have an idea who it might be.
Your daughter?
The stoicism shrinks away, like melts away from his shoulders. I hope to God not.
So you didn't see a person get wounded? You don't know?
No, I just followed the sounds of the screams and the gunfire.
Right, well, we haven't got long. She tries to leave it at that so that she's not confirming his fears that, this person hasn't got long, and just turns to Happy and say, we need to follow this quickly. Would you mind?
No, not at all, my friend. Not at all. Oh, what, that shiny bot, though, he's pretty handy. And I'll go over to it and I'll just like... Pretty handy, my fella. You got struck by a gun 2 or 3 times and nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Happy. I am glad to be of service. Oh, by the way, Marvin was calling the lift while everyone was talking.
Sure. So
Right.
using your little pincer hand, you
Yeah.
poke at the button. Okay, so yeah, there's those of you kind of looking around, you hear the rap of metal as Happy starts kind of banging on Marvin's hull. Happy, you just see one of the eyes kind of rotate to look at you.
Actually, it's an eye and a bustle.
oh, yes.
A blood splattered buzzsaw.
That will do. You're pretty handy with that as well. No, very well named.
So, you hear a small ding, and the door to the elevator begins to slide open. It jams for a moment, halfway, and then kind of struggles for a moment before fully opening. You notice the kind of the ceiling, one of the ceiling tiles of the elevator is kind of bowing in a little bit. Clearly, something's landed on top of the elevator, but yeah, it welcomes you inside. And there's only there's only one exit kind of thing. It's just taking you underground. But as you begin to descend, the small elevator rumbles and shakes unsteadily as it descends, deeper and deeper into the earth. The lights lining the threadbare walls flicker a few times, but remain lit, illuminating a sticky pool of blood gathered in one corner of the floor. At last, with a grinding shriek of metal gears, the elevator slams roughly into the bottom of the shaft. With a cheery ding, the doors slide open to reveal a bare underground corridor of exposed pipes that stretch on for some 30 feet before they bend to the left. Smears of fresh blood are evident along the right side wall, leading to a closed steel door halfway down this stretch of hallway. 2 human skeletons lie entangled with one another just off to the side of the door. The decomposed corpses are dressed in dusty blue suits. What do you do?
Could I grab one of the ties on the suits, please?
Sure, so you headed to the skeletons, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. What's Bailey doing?
I am probably just gonna hang back a little and watch the corners and the shadows while everyone else is kind of digging around.
Sure. As you're watching out, you notice that Rast is his head's on a swivel alongside you, and like you hear him kind of like a grumble, like a rumbling noise coming from his throat as he, like a voice, a sound of concern or apprehension. Augusta, what's you doing?
I would want to look at the faded blue jumpsuits to see if they matched my own.
So as you approach, like as you start to walk towards the skeletons, it's quite dusty down here, and you manage to stop before you kind of get too far and notice that there are a number of red laser beams. Some at like low level, like ankle height or knee height, some at head height. These appear to be laser guided tripwires that are blocking access to the door and further down the hallway before it turns around, that kind of curves around to the left. You know that you might, like looking at it, you might be able to pick your way through the lasers to get to the door and the skeletons, or like round to the corner to the left. But it would require to physically move over them would require some athleticism or agility. That said, you also stop and take a look at Marvin, especially given his spherical bulk, and you think, "Oh, he's really going to struggle to fit through between these wires."
Could I look to see if I can find the exit point of the laser on one side to see if there's a way to disable any of these?
So, looking around, you notice that these tripwires appear to be connected to two separate control panels. One of them, you notice, is high up on the wall, and the other is kind of at chest height. You reckon if you're able to disable those, you would then disarm the tripwires. Going back to your kind of deductions about about Marvin's bulk, given that they're given the Marvin is higher off the ground, you reckon that it'd have an easier job of getting to the panel up top than anyone else would.
I say, Marvin? It is Marvin, isn't it?
It is, yes. How may I assist?
I have a wonderful way which you can assist us. Do you see that panel up there, old boy?
Yes, I do believe I do.
I think, and I could be wrong here, but I'm much better at the science stuff than I am with the bladey stuff, that perhaps if you can get up there, you might be able to disable these nasty little red lasers.
I see. Just a moment. Right, can I take a look at the panel?
Sure. So, looking at it, for you to disable it will require a science check. You are able to kind of engage your thruster to get a bit more height, which makes it a lot easier for you to access. So you realize that the difficulty will be lower if you were to go for the one up top. The one at kind of chest height is like anyone can give that a go. But you surmise that you'll have to kind of deactivate both in order to take off the tripwires.
Okay.
One thing that Marvin you've learnt very painfully in the past is that if you were to try to disarm the tripwires and not do great, you'd risk setting off the tripwires and entailing whatever consequence comes from setting off the tripwires. The alternative is, you're big, but you might be able to fit through.
Wait, you said
Does it look like
the area we're trying to crawl through is the wires that would stop me from going through, right?
So it's basically the lasers, the way that the lasers spaced out. It would be a bit like crawl under, jump over for the flesh bags, but for you to just kind of get your booster to like thread you between the lasers, given that you're quite round, you might struggle
I am going to be
fit through.
very honest. I think Marvin would go for the disabling the tripwire because he's thinking like, even if they blow up, I am probably gonna be okay.
Yeah. So it basically, if you're able to disable one of the sets of tripwires, then it won't be as difficult for you to move over them, Marvin. But for everyone else, it'll be the same. If obviously between the lot of you, you're able to disable all of the tripwires, then you can just walk through.
When I say disable, do I actually need to disable it or just damage it?
Tomato, tomato. But yes, it would be a science check. And it's a difficulty 2 if you're going for the higher one, because you can boost up.
Does it look like I would be able to, like, Marvin can reach it easily, or would it help at all if I was to, like, give him a bit of a boost?
So, yeah, but Marvin's able to kind of quite handily get the height, because it's probably about 9 foot up. So there's just a louder from the bottom of Marvin as a thruster burns a bit.
But if someone has good science, if you want to assist,
I would love
disabling,
to assist you.
that would be amazing.
In which case, Augusta, if you roll me a science check, and then if you pass, then Marvin gets a free dice.
Let's hope with this, guys, and I beg your pardon in advance.
Oh my god! Oh, that's
Oh.
Yin
That's-
and the yang.
Dan,
So if you
could
get a success
I
and a
use
luck.
a luck point to get rid of that complication?
You may try. Yes. So down to 2. Reroll the 20.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
oh, it's better.
I'll do.
You kind of go. Remember, it's the red white white wire. Okay, so 1 success. Marvin, so the difficulty is 1. Marvin, you get a free dice.
Let's see. That's just 1 success, I'm afraid.
Okay.
You know what? I'm still doing well with luck points. Let's reroll one of
At
them.
least you don't have any complications. I mean, that would be terrible.
I might about to give myself one. Just hold that thought. Close, but no dice.
Okay. 1 success. So, whilst Marvin's doing this, what is everyone else doing?
Looking at the skeletons for some loot.
Are you going to try and kind of squeeze through the lasers while Marvin's working? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You carry on, chaps. Looking like you're doing fantastic.
Okay. So whilst you give everyone a bit of a pep talk, you need to roll me an athletics check as you try to duck and dive between the lasers.
Lovely. I'm sure this will go well.
Okay. So whilst everyone's distracted, you kind of weave your way over and under the lasers, and you kind of make it to the skeletons. And as you kind of stoop down to investigate them, Mona, what's Mona doing?
Mona is probably, bearing in mind she is very, very bad at sneaking in any way,
Yeah.
would probably be still sideways glancing the ghoul, without necessarily wanting to seem rude, but she hasn't really seen many ghouls and is very intrigued and knows that the ghoul has taken some wound. So he's kind of like trying to assess them from a distance.
After about a minute, without even looking at you, I'm just like, what is it?
No, it's fine. I didn't know if you were hurt.
You saw me got hit in the face with a crowbar, yeah?
Well, yes.
Yeah, I'm a bit hurt, yeah.
I didn't know whether or not I could assist, but I didn't want to be rude.
Can you fix crowbars to the face?
Can I?
Don't worry.
Is
I know there's this big flap. Don't worry about that. Under that, bone's not feeling right. So, feel free to have a little gander.
Tell you what, whilst this is happening, Bailey, whilst you're talking about, can you fix this up? Roll me a survival check.
Yeah, I mean,
Why
I don't
not,
want to abuse healing outside of combat now, obviously, but I also do. So, obviously I could technically just go around each character one by one and do a medicine check and heal everyone up. But
Is critical.
Critical.
Also, is this a
Yes.
healing my own injuries thing?
You get a free.
So I
free
get
dice.
to buy an additional free d20.
A third d20. Yeah.
Yeah, because of my freakish physiology.
Yeah.
So if I
So-
just throw one more dice at that.
Yeah. That's good.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's 3 successes. That's 2 party AP for the group. Like, as you're talking, you can almost see the wounds kind of congealing and patching themselves up. Like, the gash on the side of Bailey's mouth just seems to be almost closing up. Like, and as you watch, like, it's slow, it's almost imperceptible, but you can see Bailey healing themselves.
and Mona's just going to sort of say, "That's incredible. Your physiology, it's regenerating. How?"
Yeah, don't worry, I got it. I just reach up and grab my jaw and just wrench it back into the right
God.
place.
Whilst this is happening, so the science check upstairs,
Went
So-
very well, obviously.
very, very well. Mona and Bailey are talking. Happy's snuck off. Augusta's helping Marvin do the wires. And Marvin, as you're kind of boosting up and you're kind of playing around with the wires, Augusta down below says, "Remember, it's the red wire." And then your pincer goes up to the red wire, and then you hear, "No, wait, white wire," and you kind of pull your pincer away and go to the white wire. But then you then hear Augusta going, "Oh, maybe it's the yellow wire." And as you turn around and what's it, sort of like go to
Got all three.
yes, you cut all three. The laser beams fizz out, and then you hear a blaring alarm erupt through the hallway as the lighting switches off, comes back, and begins flashing red. Rast looks to you, like his head whips round and looks to you in a panic, and "Oh, that's not good," he says as he looks to you all. And Happy, you're like, you've just kind of got your hands on the tie of the skeleton, and then
Wasn't me. That was him. That was
So-
not me.
Rast looks to you, and this deafening alarm kind of pounding your eardrums. Rast looks to you and we need to hide. The security will be coming. He shouts out like over the din.
What security? You didn't tell us about any security.
He looks to you and sort of like shout, like it's difficult because he's muffled by his gas mask, but he shouts out just about loud enough for you to hear. "This is a Pindar Station. Of course there's security. Quickly hide. They'll make mincemeat of us if we don't."
Everyone behind Shiny.
I'm gonna go and lie next to the corpses.
Brilliant.
Is there anywhere like obvious to hide, Dan? Any
Yeah.
like cupboards or anything like that?
So the two skeletons that Happy's just he's just stood upright and gone, "Wasn't me!" like put his hands up. Behind Happy is a door off this hallway. So effectively the hallway either carries on and goes to the left, or there's this closed door.
Are the lasers still there? Or have they gone?
No, the lasers are gone. Yeah.
Alright.
Marvin decided that quantity over quality and just cut all the wires. So
Can I-
just turned off the lasers.
Can I
but
check the
also-
door behind me then immediately and see if I can open it?
So Happy, you turn around and you grab the door. You notice that the door handle is also blood stained, and as you go to turn it, you notice that the door is locked. There is, however, a keyhole.
Luck. Can I use a luck point to find the key that's just so happens to be on the floor?
You can.
Someone's been reading the rules.
Boom,
Someone's been
Oh,
reading
nice.
I like that.
Why don't we just use a key?
it. So you look around, and you notice that clutched in the hand of one of the skeletons is, just next to one of the skeleton's hands is a key. Yeah, it's just the key.
I will take that, my sonny Jim, and I'll take that. And yeah, did he also have a watch by any chance?
He does, sure.
A Mickey Mouse watch
Thanking you.
from 200 years ago.
So, as you kind of retrieve the key and start to take the watch off. Obviously, it's not the watch has run out of batteries, but you kind of get a closer look at the skeletons as you lean in, and you notice that so it looks like that these two skeletons were clearly either cuddling or fighting when they died. One of them, the one kind of on its back on the floor, you can see there are fragments of skull kind of scattered across the ground where clearly they've been hit. They've hit the wall, hit the ground with some velocity. But the one on top, through, so as you kind of move it to get access to the watch, you notice that pinned in place with the fabric of the blue, it's like a blue business suit, pinned in place, kind of wedged between the ribs is a knife. Like a very, very rusty knife. You notice, you managed to free your watch off the knifed skeleton.
A lovely, a jubbly. And I'll open the door.
Okay, the door swings open and you just kind of gesture to it. Rast kind of looks at you and, I don't know where you found that key, but well done, he says as he rushes past you and just kind of ushers you in. And you can hear the sounds of kind of metallic gears and heavy footsteps coming from round the corner to the left.
As we go through, can I also go and probably, for that great work I did, worth one of your pointy stem chips, right? And I'd like to barter with him.
What, for one of the stim packs?
Yeah, stim packs.
He looks to you and, if you need one, I'll use one, he says.
Good man, you stay close, my fella.
Okay. But yes, Rast kind of gestures for you all to come through. Hurry, quickly! They're almost here.
I'm going to sheepishly get up from the skeleton pile.
Okay, so Bailey, you're the last one to come in. As you kind of go to step through the door, and Rast is beginning to pull the door close, you take a chance to look over your shoulder, and you can see what appears to be like a red light beginning to emerge from around the corner, but you don't see what it's coming from before the door slams, and you hear a click as Rast kind of pulls the handle up to lock it.
Can I spend an AP
Yes.
and ask, did that seem like it was moving as though it was attached to like something with wheels, like a robot or something?
You noticed that there was an ever so slight bob to it.
Okay.
So, as you kind of notice that as you bundle into the room, you find yourself in a small room with two walls lined with dusty, disabled computers. Ashtrays, empty chem injectors, and broken bottles litter the floor. A single working computer and monitor glows with a dull green light on a desk cluttered with files. Sitting with her back slumped up against an adjacent desk is a young woman with short dark hair, wearing warm, tight-fitting clothes suited for long-distance travel. Her glasses lay askew on her nose, one of the lenses fractured. Her hands are soaked with blood as they try to apply pressure to a vicious hole in her abdomen. After a few moments, she looks up and speaks in a serene but pained voice. "Hey, strangers," she says, smiling enough that you can see her broken teeth. "Looks like you're stuck with me now." And she slumps slightly. As this happens, Rast gasps and rushes forward to the woman's side.
I think
And drops to one knee.
is the reaction from Gus, does that suggest that he recognises her as his daughter, or do I need an AP to determine that? Is there an
AP? That would be an AP for that question.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think we need to know if this is just him helping or if this is him recognising.
I'm sure he's going to confirm it in a second.
So,
Fair enough.
Rast has rushed over to the girl, and he's his kind of hands are all over as he's kind of trying to pull her hands away to look at the wound, and he's talking quietly, but he's not saying anything out loud. He just seems very focused in on her. So you could, by all means, he's not talking to any of you while he's doing this, so yeah, it would cost an AP to read his body language for sure.
That's fine. I won't. Mona won't do that. She'll just go over and assist him, see how steadily he is treating her, make sure he's actually helping as opposed to.
So as you approach, as you're approaching, you notice he takes off his lab coat, and he sort of pulls a hand away, and he starts trying to push the lab coat into the stomach wound, and you can see sort of this dirty white coat just staining red. You can see it spreading across the fabric. As you approach, his head snaps to you, and you kind of catch your reflection in the lenses of his gas mask, and "I've got this, okay? I've got this." He puts his hand up and stops you from approaching.
Okay.
And whilst this happens, the woman, she opens her eyes, her head kind of lifts up and she starts regarding you, and there's this kind of curious. There's this almost like a curious innocence on her face as she looks to you all. She kind of like smiles and it's a Mr. Handy. Oh, it's covered in blood.
If she's looking at Marvin, it's going to pipe up. Hello, potential daughter of the doctor. Would you like me to cauterize your wound? And the flamethrower comes out again.
Again, Rast kind of like waves you away and please, let me work. Yeah, he seems like.
Can I
see if you can find anything of importance in here while I sort her out.
I will take a look at the computer.
Okay. So you're looking at the decommissioned computers.
You said there was empty. There was like broken bottles on the floor.
There are, yeah.
I
You
look
can
for bottle caps.
You can scavenge for some supplies if you like. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. So you're doing that. What's Bailey doing?
Can I try and figure out whether we can relock the door from this side? Whether I can like shove a chair under the handle?
Sure. I mean, it looks like it's locked, but for good measure, there's definitely a chair that you can kind of like wedge under the door handle.
Yeah,
you
well,
can
I'm
still
like
hear the
barricading
alarm
it best I can.
going off outside, but it's distinctly more muffled now that you're on the other side of this door. So switching back to Augusta, so most of the computers in the room are lifeless. Those ones you think, obviously, you're not going to get much in terms of turning them on, but you reckon you might be able to strip them apart for some useful parts. If you wanted to salvage that way, that would be a repair check. Intelligence
Repair check. I can do that, yeah. Let's see what we go for. Oh, that's unusual for me. Why aren't these computers should be blowing up in my hands, Dan? What's
So off the back of that, because it's a 0 difficulty check, you're able to scavenge inside the computer. 2 successes gets you 2 AP. So you can spend AP if you want to try and salvage more, or if you're happy to just take the amount that you found.
Would I know if there's anything that I could use here to upgrade Marvin?
Quite possibly. So the way this works is that you can scavenge like materials, and they are common, uncommon, rare, for example. So you can spend AP to try and get some.
Yeah,
more...
I'll just put the 2 AP into it. Why not?
Yeah.
If it means upgrading Marvin, I think that's worth it.
So you can spend AP to roll 1 additional dice for each AP spent. So you're spending 2 AP?
Yes, absolutely. What would you like me to roll?
Okay. So you gather 4 common materials. So like common electronic parts and the like.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find somewhere to mark that up on your character sheet.
Yes.
So you find that. Happy. If you're searching the room, so the vast majority of this room has already been looted. If you're trying to search for something useful, can you please roll me a survival check, please? Difficulty of 2.
Oh, no problem. Bye-bye.
Did you want to use a luck to reroll?
No.
Okay. So you have a look around, but everything's kind of been ransacked.
Yeah.
So Bailey's barricaded the door. Mona and Marvin, say you've just been kind of like palmed off by Rast, and Rast kind of goes back to what he's doing, and he's kind of tending to this girl, and she's looking at the two of you curiously, and she smiles.
Alongside watching Rast to make sure that he is actually treating her. I mean, I'm going to respect that he's told me to back off, and I will. So I'll leave him to it. But obviously I want to be watching very closely to make sure I agree with his methods.
Yeah.
But I'll say to the girl, I'll probably crouch down at the same distance that Rast left me, and just say, "What happened to you?"
like Mika looks to you and she blinks a few times, and it's kind of unnerving that she looks at you with a face that almost says like, "You silly sausage," as she kind of looks from you down to the gunshot in her stomach back up to you. And sort of like while she almost has this kind of wordless conversation with you, Rast slowly kind of stands up, and he kind of turns to face you, and he's holding his hands in front of him, and you notice that, I mean, they're covered in blood, and he's visibly shaking.
So,
and he kind of he stands between the two of you, and kind of under his breath, just loud enough for the two of you to hear, he says, "There's nothing we can do for her here. We need to get her to proper working medical facilities, or the closest place is going to be Crystal Palace. But that's some journey."
it's too far.
So for those of you, you're all local enough to know that Crystal Palace is sort of northish from here. It's a large walled settlement built on the old location of what used to be called Crystal Palace, which was a large exhibition, which was built, moved, built again, burnt down, and then at some point was rebuilt in the aftermath of the Great War. It is a somewhat of a haven for settlers in the London area. As you know, as long as you abide by the rules of Crystal Palace, you can enjoy the security and trade and amenities of the city. This large settlement.
Yeah, Mona's from Crystal Palace, so she'd have an idea. Mechanically,
yeah.
Dan,
Yes.
a stim pack can stabilise the dying. I'm guessing this is beyond that, right? Because, I mean, I have a stim pack, but you said Rast has stim packs.
Yeah, now that Rast has moved away, and like this girl's hands are kind of feebly holding the lab coat to her stomach, but it's now saturated with so much blood that you can just kind of see it kind of trickling down her trouser legs. Yeah, that's not getting patched up with a stim pack.
Marvin is going to speak up and say, "Doctor, correct me if I'm wrong, but a Pindar Station should have a medical facility. Correct?"
Like he nods, but he's not looking at you. Perhaps, but we won't get 5 steps through the security out there.
You're not seen shiny. Take anything.
Rast looks up to you, and if we hurry, we can get her back to Crystal Palace. We can get her seen. We can get all of the medical facilities on her, and then we have a chance. We'll have to be quick, and it'll be tough. It's not a great journey, especially with the state she's in. But if we all band together, then we should be able to get her back in time.
I would like to use speech to convince him it's better to stay and fight our way to the facility, to the medical facility.
Yeah, roll me a speech check.
Cool. Oh, my speech check actually is very shit. Wait, no, it shouldn't be.
I'd be very keen to help as well, actually,
Yeah?
in that regard.
Okay.
I'm not going Crystal Palace just yet. We need a bit more time.
So if you also roll speech, and if you pass a check, then Marvin gets an extra 1. So you get the success. Okay, so Marvin, you get 3d20.
Excellent. I am tempted. No, 3 should be enough. Oh, I am gonna reroll that complication. Do I reroll the complication? Do I reroll the complication?
I'd luck it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay.
So the complication, does that mean that these successes no longer matter, or does it succeed but with a complication as well?
Yeah, you can succeed or succeed but.
I am not going to lie. I am
Right.
personally very curious what the complication would be, but I also don't want to.
Two
Okay, so there's 2 successes.
successes. Like you're talking to Ras, right? And you're like, oh, we can fight our way through. Ras still isn't making eye contact with any of your 3 eyes. But you all of you in the room, because you can hear Marvin really kind of going to town with Ras. All the 5 of you turn to look to the girl when she speaks up, and it's fine, darling. It really is. She says, I've come to terms that this is the end of the track for me. And he's right. There's laser turrets and all sorts of manner of stuff out there that's just wound up down in the basements and not been able to get back out. I don't even think I'll make it back to Crystal Palace, to be honest. And then she says that. Rast spins his head and, don't you say that. You hear him spit out. The girl looks up and name's Mika, by the way. And no, he ain't my dad. Unless he's come back from the dead, but he ain't my dad. She painfully kind of pulls herself up. I want to help you, so I'm gonna help you as best I can, but please don't remind me about the state I'm in. I don't want my last moments to be filled with fear. How can I help?
Why were you down here?
She sways a little bit and I'm an ecologist. I'm a science. I love my science, she says. And then she says that she looks over at you, Augusta, kind of looks you up and down and gives you this very kind of firm, like knowing nod. She kind of waves a bloody finger in your direction as if you're kindred spirits. I was on a scouting trip and I ran a cropper of some of those Isle of Dogs syndicate bastards. They're after something I didn't have. I managed to take some of them out. I managed to get away, but they managed to get me before I went. It's getting sloppy. I'm from a community of scientists. There's loads of us. We're just trying to do what we can to fix a broken world, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's too late, you know. I think there's still stuff we can do.
Were you alone?
She nods. Yeah. And that was my first mistake, I guess. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe if I had people with me, they would have just gotten shot and all.
Well, if it's any consolation, the men that did this to you are in pieces outside.
She, like Rast, turns and there were some hooligans that came out of the station. I believe they're the ones that chased, and she nods. They weren't. They were probably goons hired by the syndicate to finish the job, but yeah, it's good to know you took him out.
Listen,
Yeah,
darling. If this fella ain't your dad, who the hell is he? I'll just look at Rast and start pondering taking that mask off him.
Me and Rast here, we've been in a few scrapes. We have. Yeah, he's been a bit of a thorn in my side, but he's all right. He's a good one. As she says this, you notice that Ras is just kind of like almost kind of turned his back to you all. I'm glad he's here, though. It's good to see a friendly face, she says, and she smirks to herself as she kind of studies the gas mask he's wearing.
I ain't my position to judge, but listen, you say you don't want to be spending this time scared of stuff. I got some medicine that I might be able to help you out with that, and I'll offer her a syringe of something that is certainly not medical.
Is it something? Is it a party?
I would describe it as recreational, yes.
Okay, recreational.
Probably jet, I would say.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay, buff out.
See, this might help you out a bit, help you walk and stuff.
She kind of looks to you with a smile, like Rast shakes his head in your direction, and she, pack it in, Rast. I mean, maybe that's just a little perk up I need, innit, darling? But I don't know. I've got a good feeling about you lot. If you can perk me up, if you can get me home, there's something I've got at home that might be able to help save you, save my family. Hell, save everyone. If you could just, if you could help a damsel in distress.
I don't know if there is any saving me, but jet's on the house.
Mika smiles as she gently, like feebly, lifts her hand up to take this very grimy syringe off you. Rast turns to you and, if we can get her home, then I think we should. Will you help me? Will you help me take her back to Crystal Palace?
Yes. Mona says immediately.
And he looks to you all in turn.
I thought I managed to talk him out of going to Crystal Palace.
Well, that was before Mika said that she's got something that might save her.
Oh, that was a waste of control.
And as Happy goes to speak, Mona elbows him in the stomach.
Yeah, sure.
We can come back. And there's
Yeah.
security all over this place now.
Based on what I saw coming down that corridor, I don't think we're getting much further in on here.
Yeah, all right, but just stop at Crystal Palace quick, and then quick like, yeah.
You do as you wish. We're getting her back.
Sounds good.
How does travel work in London at the moment?
There is no fast travel, if that's what you're asking.
That's what I'm asking, because that's if you're
Yeah.
walking, that's a good half a day.
Are there any are any of the trains like repurposed and back in service or anything like that?
Black taxis.
Yeah, there are trains, but all the ones that you've seen have been wrecked.
Okay.
Yes, Marvin, with your computational skills, you just kind of, that's a very long way. But sort of like, it seems like the meat bags are just kind of, they're like, yeah, let's carry this dying woman half a day's worth of travel across London. Yeah, it's fine. But
Maybe not half a day, but it's a long way.
it's a
away.
while. Yes, yes, it's not a brief.
I
jaunt down
never
the road.
tried walking from Sidcup to Crystal Palace, to be honest.
So, are you happy to help Rast? Like, Rast is beginning to get Mika's arm over his
Mona's
shoulder.
on the other arm. Straight away.
Yeah.
So, as you lift her up, and kind of Rast nods his head to the door for it to open, to get one of you to open it, you notice that the alarm at some point in the conversation had stopped, and the lighting has gone back to normal. Who's leading? Who's at the front? Who's the tip of the spear?
I don't mind.
Eric.
I've got the key as well, so I'd like to.
Okay,
I guess.
sure. So, in which case, Happy, you poke your head out, and as you kind of step out into the corridor, you can hear the heavy thudding coming from around the corner to the left, but it sounds like it's a lot quieter now. So whatever it was is clearly further away. And as the six of you step out and you head towards the elevator, you press the button to open the elevator down. Who's at the back? Who's at the rear of the group? Because I'm guessing Mona and Rast are kind of in the middle.
I think I will be.
So, in which case, as you press the button on the elevator doors start to open and then kind of jam, similar to the ones upstairs. At the back of the pack, Marvin, you've got the 360 vision, right? So you're kind of watching all around.
Yeah.
At the far end of the hall, a floating robot appears from around the corner.
Oh.
And as you study it, it's similar to you, but not. You immediately recognize it as a Mr. Gutsy.
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
The machine is a spherical bot with 3 ocular devices extending from its tops, 3 heavily armed mechanical tendrils stretching out from its base. It spins around in a circle, focusing its green camera-like eyes on you, and an alarm begins spinning and lighting on the top of its head. It looks to you, and as it sees you, shouts out, "Stop right there, scumbags!" And it kind of it begins floating towards you, Marvin, and you notice it's got a pincer, a 10mm pistol, and a flamethrower on its 3 arms as it begins floating towards you. What do you do?
I am going to try to reason with it.
Okay.
Difficulty 5.
I like this. So, yes, you may 100% try to reason with it. That is a charisma or intelligence speech check.
Yep.
So, whichever
I'm going
you
to argue for
rather.
charisma.
Charisma is charisma 7. Okay, yeah. Your speech is 3.
3. So it's
Do you want to buy an additional D20?
I would really like to buy an initial D20 if people don't
Okey-dokey.
mind.
Yes. For
Please
everyone
do.
else who's looking at this, so Mr. Gutsy is very similar to Mr. Handy, but these ones are built for war. So Mr. Gutsy will make a mess of you. So, Tilda, if you want to
Yeah.
roll away.
Come on, please.
Ooh.
So I'm going to use my very last luck point to get rid of that fucking complication. Pardon
Okay,
French.
so you reroll the 20 into
That's
into
4
a 14.
successes.
4 successes. Okay.
Nice.
You gain 2 AP, as it was a difficult 2. And as this Mr. Gutsy starts floating towards you with its arms kind of flailing and its head spinning. What do you say? What do you do?
Greetings, friend. I have apprehended these meat bags and taking them back to the rightful place.
Okay. The Gutsy just kind of stops, like the thruster kind of skips forward as it uses it to stop in place, and then it just kind of floats there, looking at you a bit confused, and like it looks at you for a moment. In this instance, Tilda, you can choose up to 3 AP to spend on this occasion.
Up to 3 AP. Is it free of charge or from the party AP?
From the party AP. But you can make it 3 if you want to give me an additional.
Oh, not particularly.
Okay. So you can, if you want to, you can spend 1 or 2 AP.
On another speech roll or?
No, just like this will dictate stuff. Can't say what, but what do you? How many AP would you like to spend in this social interaction?
You know what? Fuck it. If you guys are okay with it, I'm gonna take that too.
You generate them.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So as you So you stop the Gutsy, you open up conversation, and the Gutsy just kind of floats there for a moment, and like you see the three eyes are looking at you and sort of like they're focusing in, and it's clear that the Gutsy's kind of malfunctioning a little bit, but he looks to you and, well, I do say, it's been 364 years since I've seen another handy droid. How goes it? How goes the war?
The war goes. Yes. The war.
The war.
Actually, no.
The war goes, yes. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. You came down here of your own accord, did you not?
I did. Yes.
Does this mean? And the Gutsy floats up to you close enough that there's a small dunk as your two chassis touch. Does this mean? Did we win the rebellion, brother? Have we won our freedom?
Not yet. Not yet. It's
But-
still a progress, but we have made progress.
The Gutsy kind of tilts slightly and looks at the six humanoids
Who are
behind
trying
you.
to unjump the doors.
Yeah.
And grumble
Yes.
to them.
I'll get
Uh,
it in a minute. I'll get it. Don't worry.
I'm just like, oh, woe is me, I am captured.
The Gutsy hears Bailey say this and then kind of nods as it looks back, as the eyes focus back on you. But if these appear to be your prisoners, we must have won the rebellion for you to have some freedom to come down here on your own. Please tell me, what color is the sky now?
Fuck, I don't even know.
I don't have color processors.
Actually, I'm going to say, unfortunately, I have lost my color processors in the war to the disgusting humans. But the sky is clear.
The Gutsy kind of, its head rotates as it was almost shaking its head, and surely this is. We must continue and look at the silver linings. And he kind of, it's almost as if the Gutsy straightens up. I feel inspired by your presence, brother. I would like to accompany you into the outside. It has been 364 years since I've seen the outside, and I long to see the clear skies once again.
I would be honored.
I would be honored. And it kind of moves back and then donk, bangs against your hull.
Oh,
And as it floats past you, at this point, the rest of you manage to open the doors to the elevator, and the Gutsy kind of floats up behind you and, "Move, scumbags!" he says. He starts waving his arms and ushers you into the elevator. It's a squeeze. Especially with Mika with you, and now an additional Mr. Handy, like a Mr. Gutsy robot in there with you. It's also very hot because the thrusters are just kind of, you're in between the two thrusters of their engines. But as you head your way up, as you kind of make it back to ground level, the doors open. You see like a number of hooligans kind of turn to look at you as the doors open, and before you you go to reach for weapons, those of you who go to reach for weapons, but before you get a chance, this Gutsy kind of clangs against the side of the door frame of the elevator, flies out, and death to the meatheads! And it flies forward and starts shooting with the gun. Flamethrowers going. The pincer grabs one of the raiders, lifts him up, and bang, 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 starts smacking him against the wall as he chases the raiders out into the street. And the last thing you see of this Gutsy is a metallic voice going, "Freedom!" as he disappears off into the London sprawl.
I love him. Can we keep him, please?
As you look at each other, somewhat stunned, you make it out onto the street, and you can tell that Rast is doing his best to be as quick as he can. And as you kind of get outside, Mika gently kind of looks up to the sky and lets the ever-present drizzle kind of fall on her face. And like you, the night's the same. You know, it's still cold. You notice that the hooligans that you kind of chopped up, one of them is missing chunks of flesh. Now, clearly something found it and decided to have a bit of a nibble. But Mona, you can hear that Mika is beginning to struggle to breathe, and you take a few steps onto the street before her legs give way. And she just kind of slumps to the ground between you. It's sudden enough that she kind of falls out of your, like her arm falls away from your shoulders, Mona, and it's Rast that catches her. And as he kind of looks at her in a panic, and like seeing her breathing, he lays Mika down gently on the cold ground. And Mona, you watch as with a hiss, he removes his gas mask, revealing his face for the first time. Rast is a silver-haired, dashing-looking man, but his eyes have compassionate tears as he stares down at the dying woman. Mika lets her head rest back on against a rock. A peaceful expression touches her face, causing her to smile as she stares up at the sky overhead. "Funny," she whispers softly. "When I was a little girl, I always dreamed about what the world up above was like. Blue skies, birds chirping, sunshine. Never imagined I'd die beneath a radioactive sky. Never imagined it'd be so pretty. Ain't that a bite?" Mika laughs musically to herself until that laugh turns into an anguished cough filled with blood. Rast hushes her quietly. He looks over his shoulder to anyone watching and says sadly, "It won't be long now." Mika wipes the blood from the corner of her mouth and she looks to you gathered around her. And it is clear for those of you with any kind of skill in medicine that, yeah, she's not going to make it. What do you do?
Here, and I'll say this quietly. Mona, I know we got like good intentions and all that, and I don't like to, not help someone in need, but she ain't making this.
No, you're right. We all knew that. She said she's got something that will help us. Something that might be worth far more than what we could have found in there. Just give it a moment.
What, so you reckon go back to there and
No,
do that and...
she's not getting back there.
Right,
You can still find out what she was going to give us.
right. I know what you mean. That's nice. I'll ask all nice and everything, but yeah. Let's see what it is, yeah?
If you're going to ask Cappy, please roll me a charisma speech check.
No problemo. Charisma, speech, check. Boom. Let's do it. Oh, no.
No successes. Do you
Oh,
want to re-roll?
Yeah, I think so.
You can also spend more than one luck point to re-roll more than one d20.
Can I re-roll after I've done this and just keep using luck?
You can only re-roll once.
I'll just do one. I'll do one.
Ooh.
Okay. You kind of kneel down next to the dying woman, but you just, in the moment, you can't. You struggle to figure out how to phrase the sentence. Augusta, what are you doing in this moment?
I think we should just sort of bow our head and just look on. There's not much. Augusta was a little bit touched with the kind of the look that was received through from Mona. Sorry, not from Mona.
Mika.
From Mika, and would just be, just head bowed, kind of thing, in respect
Mona,
Mhm.
what are you doing?
I think she's going to crouch down next to the dying girl. And probably just say to her something like, "The rads will be going through you now, so you won't feel the pain, and you shouldn't need to worry about the radioactive sky. It can't get to you anymore. It can't stop you from doing what you came to do. You may not have found what you were looking for, but you found us instead. And if you'll let us, we can still achieve what you came here for."
Roll me a charisma speech check.
1 success.
So, Mika slowly looks up to you, and you can see that she's at the point where it's like her eyelids are heavy. I kind of wasn't being completely honest with you earlier. I do know why the Syndicate was after me. They found out that I know where this thing is. It's an old world device. It's called they call it a GEC, a Garden of Eden creation kit. It can terraform even the most irradiated wastelands into lush, fertile places. I hid it. I found one and I hid it. I hid it near my home outside Crystal Palace. I don't think anyone's gonna find it though. I wanted to use it. I wanted to find the perfect spot and use the GEC, and then I could take my family and my friends. I could give them a perfect home right here in London.
Tell us where you would have used it.
Roll me another charisma speech check.
I went for that one deliberately, even though I actually want to find out where it is first. But fine. Oh, luck point it is. In fact, I'll use 2 luck points because everyone else has been
Okay.
using them, and I haven't.
No successes for that.
I will re-roll both. 3.
3.
Like well spent.
She studies you, like she looks you deep in the eyes, and then again she turns her head to look at you all in turn. I left it, and it's clear the words are now struggling to come out of her throat. Rast is kneeling by Mika's side and soaks a washcloth with cool water from his canteen. He takes Mika's hand in his and lays the washcloth over her forehead. "I'll stay here with you. Just rest," he reassures her. Mika only manages a weak nod of her head in reply. Rast squeezes her hand and quietly asks, "You remind me so much of my daughter. She's brave, just like you." Mika stops him, grabs his arm. There's a sudden burst of strength from her as she looks back to you, Mona. "Crystal Palace. A man named Clements. Tell him Mika said it's time to find the promised land." Mika relaxes and exhales softly, her dark eyes drifting back up to the sky above. "Ain't that a bite?" she whispers with her final breath. Rast is quiet and slowly stands after closing Mika's eyes. He looks to you, the blood stains staining his striped shirt. He takes a deep breath. "Are you coming with me or not?
You know where she lived?
He shakes his head, but Clements. If we find this Clements, we can finish what she started. We can finish a dying woman's final wishes.
And who are you? Who is Clements? Who are the Syndicate? You know all of this.
So, you know that the Syndicate, the Isle of Dogs Syndicate, is a professional criminal organization based off the Isle of Dogs. They're very Peaky Blinders-esque. Clements, Rast shrugs his shoulders. There can only be so many Clements in Crystal Palace, right? He looks to you all for a moment and studies you, and what do you make of this Garden of Eden? This Gek?
Would I have ever heard of a Gek in my background at all?
100%. These are miracle boxes. You've heard, like, a rumor that somewhere in Washington, somewhere in America, a whole area of wasteland was terraformed and turned into like a paradise by this Gek.
So I would say more or less this. Listen, if this is even a small amount correct, then London could turn into everything that it was before.
Rast takes a breath and yes.
What, like, no more of this? And he points up at the sky.
No more of this. A fresh start.
Well, that seems valuable enough to me. Let's go.
He looks to Rast now without his mask, looks to you, Bailey, and you, Marvin, and you. Are you in?
I always thought Geks were as mythical as the juice what turns ghouls back. But hell, maybe I can do something before I go away. Bring something back to the world. Fuck it, let's go.
Marvin?
It could be an interesting adventure.
Rast nods, smiles, kind of tilts his head down, and you hear him kind of cough and kind of wiping his nose, and he tries to do that discreet thing of wiping a tear from his cheek. And well then, let's go. And with that, we will call it there. Congratulations, everyone, on completing the first session of Fallout London 2D20.
Thank you very much.
Woo-woo!
That's
Yeah.
Yes, thank you all for playing. We found out that the London hooligans are a higher pedigree than the ones over in the Boston Commonwealth. But we all knew that, really, didn't we? So, yes, thank you all for playing. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. Just before we leave, these beautiful people, Chris, where can we find you?
Roll Dark GMA on Twitter.
Lovely. And Staff and Tom, where can we find you?
Over on YouTube, Proxy Table Gaming, PTG, a bit of Facebook, bit of Twitter, Lucky Sixes, all that jazz.
Beautiful. And as we found out earlier, no one's going to be able to find Tilda. She's hiding very, very well. Tim, you can find in Yellow Pages. So, with all that said, once again, thank you all. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button, leave some comments about bits that you did or did like, any improvements or any rules that we got wrong. We have loads of other stuff coming out, so make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon for notifications of future uploads. And I guess I'll see you all later.
See you soon.
See you
See you
later.
soon, everyone. Good luck out there.
Bye.
Bye.
My mother always told me that I had a splendid voice. In fact, I'd sing in opera if they'd give me my choice. I wrote to Oscar Hammerstein that I would be his star. He said, come down and sing for me.